Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4Player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 565. It is July 26, 2018. My name is Nick Henderson, and to my right is Brad Simons.
What up, y'all?
Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
And Christopher Guthridge.
Hello.
How's everybody doing tonight?
No.
What?
The answer is no, Nick.
As always, it's Thursday night. It is time for us to talk about video games. Before we start, I want to cover a couple of things. First of which, I think perhaps most importantly, last week on the podcast or during the break, we announced that in August we're going to be doing 1998 month on our stream all month long. And just like it sounds, it implies we're going to be playing nothing but games that came out in 1998 on the stream in the month of August. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but a lot of cool shit came out in that year. I think a lot of people still kind of refer to it as, you know, one of the best years in gaming. There's been a lot of really great years since then, but 1988 is kind of...
It's the best.
It's the one that people kind of always go back to.
It's a big one.
So it's been 20 years. So
I
we're
feel
gonna...
like we can... Yeah, never mind.
Wait, what? Finish that thought. No?
I think if anyone tries to pose a counter argument, it could easily be defeated with 1998 games.
Yeah, I think the big thing about 1998 isn't just that it was a bunch of great games, but it was the first in a lot of like huge franchises.
Mm-hmm. Yes, true.
It was the time when 3D, I think, was finally becoming mastered, if you will, because early 3D was very awkward.
Yes.
And this was when they were finally like getting into their groove, becoming really comfortable with it, launching new franchises that became like all-time franchises, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's the and we spent a lot of time talking about which games we want to play. We're going to do some special nights, some special events and stuff throughout the month. But there's a lot of great stuff and we're trying to fit as much stuff into the month as humanly possible. So I guess I wanted to start out by kind of showing you guys what we've come up with as far as like a calendar goes, and we put this graphic together just so y'all can see it. We're going to be using it on Twitter and on Twitch and stuff a lot throughout the month. Also, we have updated the calendar on the site at 4playernetwork.com/calendar. I will say this: everything that we're about to talk about is subject to change, but this is kind of what we're going to aim for. These are some of the games that we're planning on playing. On the nights we're planning on playing them, but anything could happen.
I was this close to buying a copy of Glover the other day.
Fuck! Okay, Brad, you know what you need to do?
What?
You need to remember to remind me things, not right in the morning when I wake up, but in the evening right before I come here, because I totally didn't bring Spyro again.
Well, I remind you in the morning in case you grab it on the... I don't know. I guess you always go home these
I always
days,
go home before the podcast, so I'm sorry I didn't bring Spyro again. But don't worry, we'll get you the... There's plenty of time. Show the calendar, Chris Davis. Here we go.
Oh, look at that.
Damn,
whoa.
damn.
Oh my god, somebody got games!
Oh my god. So I couldn't include everything on here, and some of the nights on here are actually going to be kind of like multiple games being shown.
Yes, not everything is being shown here.
And I obviously didn't include necessarily who is playing each one of these on this calendar. But if you want to find out more about what we're playing, who's playing it, I would head on over to 4playernetwork.com/calendar. You can check it out there. But obviously, August starts next Wednesday, August 1st, and I'm gonna be...
I don't know what any of Chris Davis's games are.
I'm gonna be... Okay, I'm gonna be totally honest.
What is number 25? What the fuck is that?
25. Oh, yeah.
What is 11?
That is a weird one.
Prolapse.
Okay, how do you not know what 11 is? And
I don't... First of all,
25.
the only one that I was...
Does look familiar,
the only one that I was familiar with that Chris Davis, aside from Half-Life, is on there, obviously. But the only other one I was familiar with was Body Harvest. So, and out of all the games on this list that I had to find these pictures for to put on this calendar...
You couldn't find a picture of Body Harvest?
I could not find it without the logo in it.
You should just done a screenshot. That game looks like shit. It'd have been so funny.
Oh my god. Anyways, but this is just kind of an idea of what we're going to be playing. I do the short start. I'm going to be starting things off on Wednesday night with one of my favorite games of all time, which came out in 1998. And of course, that would be The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Wait, are you starting from the beginning?
Yes. So I think I'm starting my streams.
Fucking get, man. You're gonna get even.
We're
get
gonna
out
find
of the
out.
village?
We're gonna find
He's
out.
gonna speedrun that shit. He's gonna do the back hop. Or
Sure,
whatever.
I'll go as fast as I fucking can. We'll see how far I can make it in 5 or 6 hours. Because I'm on each night that I'm streaming, I'm gonna be starting an hour earlier than I normally do. So I'm gonna be starting at 7 instead of 8.
Cock blocked. Sorry.
Wait, what's going on? What is happening? Is Carlos?
Chris Davis tried to type something into chat and had to log in.
Oh my god. Anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna start things off Wednesday night at 7 p.m. I'm gonna start Ocarina of Time, and I'm gonna go as fast as I can. We're just to see how far I can make it in that game in five hours or so. I will say this: throughout the month, we're only gonna be doing 3 main podcasts. The first Thursday night, which is when we normally record, is the second, and we're gonna be doing a multiplayer night.
Yes.
Which will feature a number of games that came out in
Like
'98.
Eherges.
Is that how you say that?
No.
Air Guys?
Air Guys.
Air Guys is how I always said it.
Eherges.
playing that?
We'll figure it out.
I was gonna bring over my copy, but since Nolan already has one, fuck
I
it.
have one that I got.
Eherges.
At Hollywood Video?
Yeah, Hollywood Video.
Oh my god, I haven't
When I
seen one of
used
those
to work
boxes.
there.
All right. Eherges.
Hey, stay focused for a second, guys.
Okay,
We
focus.
we got a lot of ground to cover. I don't want to go over every single day. There's a few things I want to point out. The 5th, obviously, I've been doing my Resident Evil series run, and I was taught. People always ask me, why aren't you playing Resident Evil 2? And I am playing Resident Evil 2. I just didn't want to say anything about it because of 98 month. I'm going to be doing that on the 5th, Sunday the 5th, and it's going to be an all-day stream. I'm going to do both scenarios in one day.
Can we say that the podcasts are going to be all 1998 themed? So we're going to be talking about the games we've been playing.
Are we going with all 98 theme or just like...
I think all. I think we should do all, and that way, people can submit questions about. They don't have to just be gaming related. They can still be random questions.
Some of our audience wasn't even born in 1998.
I know, but they can ask us about our 98
I
selves
wasn't born in
or
1998
video games or and I was thinking maybe in place of news, like each one of those one episode we can do Nintendo 64, one episode we can do the PlayStation, the other one we can talk about Sega and PC. We can lump them together.
Sure. Well,
because no one really
the point
played
is,
Saturn.
we're going to have plenty of opportunities to talk about the games that we're playing all month. You're going to see all kinds of stuff. You're going to see Fallout 2, Suikoden, Tactics Ogre, Banjo-Kazooie. I'm playing Banjo-Kazooie for the first time. I'm pretty excited. Also, on the 20th, I'm playing Thief. I've never played...
Nick, why are you only talking about yours? Well, what about the 10th? You know what's happening on the 10th? It's the Samurai vs. Ninja night. We're going to play both Brave Fencer Musashi and Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. And they're going to face off, and we're all going to collectively decide
Wait, are we
which
all
is the
part of
better
this?
game. Not me and chat
Oh.
is going to decide which is the better game. The Samurai or the Ninja. Maybe Chris Davis can tell us what the fuck is going on the 25th, because I don't know.
Wait. That's
Looks like a
hold on.
planet.
I had to look this up. What is it called? Incoming? Is that Incoming?
Yes.
Incoming!
Incoming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never even heard of that.
Incoming.
And I'm the biggest nerd here.
Confirmed. Confirmed. Also, so Brad's doing a lot of themed nights throughout the month. So he's mostly streams on Fridays. Except for the 4th, you're streaming on the Saturday, which is what is that day? What is that day again? It's a horror night. You're doing a horror night.
No, it is an underrated or it is an underappreciated horror night.
Underappreciated horror.
These are
night.
obscure horror games.
Yeah. Which is why there's a picture of a monkey on there. I don't know.
I'm not even sure if that's from one of the games.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Nick just liked that monkey. I swear to God.
I'm pretty sure it is. And then the 17th is gonna be a shooter night. You're gonna play a bunch of shooters.
Yes.
24th is gonna be a JRPG night.
Yes. That is my I was gonna say childhood, but let's be honest here. My teenagerhood. I was playing a lot of JRPGs back then, and I still have all those.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of great stuff. Krispy's gonna play the original Metal Gear Solid
On the 19th.
on the 19th. So
Metal Gear
this-
Solid.
I remember when they were doing the marathon for Twin Snakes, which is a very different game. A very different game.
Yeah,
There was a struggle to get out of that first room. It is so much harder in the original.
it's pretty tough.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to it.
No, it is an all-time classic.
Anyways, we don't need to we don't need to talk about it for too much long. I just want to say
Actually,
We're very
I'm really
excited.
excited about the 26th.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
you're
playing
playing
Mega
should
Man
be.
Legends.
That's a
Mega
cool
Man
game.
Legends.
I love that game.
That game was ahead of its time in some ways and sort of behind its time in others. But
Sure.
the ways it was ahead of its time were pretty
You're
cool.
gonna make you're gonna
like
make
fully animated faces and lip
Yeah.
syncing. It's crazy.
You're gonna make Burnsy so mad. Burnsy has been like, Nick's gonna play through Mega Man Legends, right? And I was like, maybe, but it's really Krispy that's playing through
Oh
it.
no! What a ripoff.
Anyways, the point is,
I'm proud of Nolan though, because he's committing to two very
committing
different,
hard.
two very different games on opposite ends of the
I don't want to
spectrum.
I didn't want this month to be a month of me play a game for 4 hours and then never play it again.
That's true.
I wanted to actually
that's
these
what
are
I-
games that I actually want to try and fucking get into. So I'm going to be playing one game for potentially 12 hours and then another one for 8. So I'm
So
actually
those two
putting some
games
good...
would be Fallout 2
Uh-huh.
and Suikoden.
Suikoden.
Suikoden 2.
Battle of the Twos.
I'm gonna finish Resident Evil 2, and I'm hoping that either Banjo or Thief gets its hooks in me enough that I want to continue playing it after my stream. So we'll see what happens. The point is, there's a lot of great stuff happening throughout the month of August on our stream, which of course will be 4pp.tv or twitch.tv/4playerpodcast. If you want to find out more about what we're streaming all month and keep up to date with any changes or whatnot's happening with the schedule, of course, head on over to 4playernetwork.com/calendar, and you can keep track of all that there. But anyways, enough about that. Let's move on. I want to open the show, as always, with feedback. Guys, if there's anything that we talk about on this episode, you have an opinion about that you would like to share with us, please go over to 4playernetwork.com, find the post for this episode, and drop us a comment. We'll read it at the start of the next episode and respond to it. You can do that on any episode we record, and doing so enters you in the drawing that we do every month, of which we'll be announcing a winner for next week for the month of July. So, and you can pick a game of your choice up to a $60 value, and we'll send it to you. So all you got to do is basically kind of engage with us on the podcast. We love hearing from you guys.
Engage.
So the first engagement this week comes from Jeros, and he says, "I haven't finished Radiant Historia either, despite getting it when it first came out. I tried several times, but just couldn't finish it. The biggest reason was that the side quest system requires you to jump to the specific point in time to get the specific spot." To talk to this person and do it so many times. In theory, it should be easy, but you just can easily get lost. But then the walkthrough is really shit as well. So
They've cleaned up some.
yeah,
of that
it sounds
stuff
like a lot of that probably gets
in
cleaned
the-
up in
the sequel. Like they do better tracking. In the original game, there were you had no idea that an NPC in a town is even part of a side quest, but now they have little like bubbles over their head, whether they're the main feature of the side quest or even people involved in that side quest, and they're different colors depending on whether you've cleared or in the middle of the side quest. So it's a lot easier to track that stuff in the remake.
Yeah. He says, eventually I just stopped playing because I'd much prefer to 100% instead of leaving some side quest dangling. Yeah. He's really excited about the new version and can't wait to play it again. I love all the combo smashing in the battle system. Thank you, Jeros. Drew327 says, "Hi guys, couple thoughts on Octopath Traveler after about 6 hours of playtime. Story-wise, it is a little odd when I approach a new character, hear their backstory, and they say something like, 'Oh, you want to help me?' Okay," without any exchanged words. I suppose the developers had to account for playing the characters in any order you choose. As far as the dungeons just being a few screens, and a game with random encounters, I'm all for it. The last thing I want to do is go through a dungeon for an hour getting into random battles with the same enemies over and over again, in the same tile set. Maybe I'm just getting old. I am always wishing RPGs would just double the experience awarded and cut the encounter rates in half. I'm getting cut to that point, I think, in my life as well, just because I don't have as much time to play
For
these
me, I
huge
think
games.
a good kind of common ground to that is I really like when re-releases of games let you fast forward, and I think it would be a good idea, especially in an RPG, like a larger game, that the first time you go through an area, you have to play it at normal speed, but if you do any kind of backtracking or even revisiting of areas, allow you to do that double speed, because it's like, dude, I've been through this, I've been here, let me just get through it. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that would be a lot easier, especially if you're like grinding or something like that.
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of a pain in the ass here because unlike it's probably like it's pretty standard for the genre these days, there is no representation of the enemy encounter on
screen,
on screen.
So you
just
can't
automatically end up in a battle. And secondly, don't like you don't like being in dungeons because they're boring and poorly designed. Instead, we should be asking the dungeons to be better. And some franchises do a really good job with that. I've been dabbling in Lufia 2, which is a JRPG, a party-based JRPG with random encounters that when you get sucked into battle, you have, you're selecting attack and hide and heal. But when you're in a dungeon, it's like a straight up, like a Link to the Past. You have items, triggering switches, solving puzzles, Wild Arms was a lot like that as well, as was the GBA series.
Yeah, Ultima Inferno also points out that in Bravely Default, which is this, a lot of the people who worked on Octopath Traveler. In that game, you could turn off encounters and turn them back on whenever you wanted,
nice.
which was great.
Golden Sun.
I honestly, I do think he's kind of onto something. I would love to see someone make an RPG that was like intentionally streamlined. Just for people who maybe don't play the genre much anymore because of the just being overwhelmed by the having to play a 60-hour
skip
game.
all battles.
Like, not even necessarily skip all battles, but like, what if you leveled up twice as fast and
YouTube cut of all the cinematics? Or something.
but like, just imagine playing a game where you get to do all that stuff, but like the experience was, instead of 60 hours, was like 30 hours, and you didn't spend nearly as much time grinding. And like, I just wish, I would love to play a streamlined JRPG, just to.
Well, Radiant Historia, you can just hit them with your sword and it'll freeze them.
You want to know one of my biggest do for regret moments when I was younger? One of the first things I ever bought on eBay. I thought it was like a Final Fantasy VII, kind of amalgamation of behind the scenes stuff and all this other stuff about the game. It was literally just a video of a person playing through the game in its entirety.
Are you serious?
I bought it for $10, but
you bought a Let's Play for $10
back in the 90s?
They're free.
It was 2000.
Man, that person was what an entrepreneur.
No, I watched the first 10 minutes and I was like, God damn it. I might still have it. I don't know. I might have
that'd be great.
Man,
Nolan has the original Let's Play.
Man, that guy, what an entrepreneur that guy was.
Back then, people must have been like, why would this exist?
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you very much, Drew. Moo says, I think this might be the first comment we've had from Moo. I'm not sure. But Moo says, great episode as always. Really looking forward to 1998 month. Hoping that someone plays Parasite Eve. It's one of my favorite games, and I'd love to see one of y'all play it.
Let's just say one doofus is heavily not featured on that calendar, but he will be playing lots of games. So look forward to some of the games that you don't see on that calendar.
We'll leave it at that. Krita says, after hearing Nick's optimistic first impression of Octopus... first of all, I love what she says. Octopus Tangler. I decided to pick it up for myself. Hearing Brad's side of the story for Octobox Trapeze scared me away from it.
Oh, it's even called Final Fantasy VII Complete.
Oh my god. Wait, hold on. Sorry, Krita. We'll
Custom DVD creations.
Yep,
oh, man. I can see why you were fooled.
Yes. Oh my, wait, let me see this. Did he do that thing? Did he have the presses where you could make your own art for your discs? Remember back in the day in the 90s, that was the greatest. Yeah. People today have no idea what we're talking about, but that was fantastic.
I remember when that technology was employed for Pog making.
Let's watch that shit. Let's stream this shit. This person's probably dead.
Oh my god.
They could be.
That's fucked up, Brad. Why do you keep doing that? Anyways, back to Krita's comment. Hearing Brad's side of the story for Octobox Trapeze scared me away from it initially, but this is also why I, and many others, are grateful that y'all are so different in opinion when it comes to games. It's very helpful for all folks that don't get to play many games and have a nitpicky buyer's morale. I'm 12 hours in to Ogre Swamp Trespasser, and I too have become incredibly bored with some of the stories. Now, if you're boring someone that only sees highway pavement and laughs at clever billboards, you're fucking up. However, I'm having a shit ton of fun with the combat and exploration. My resolution is when I'm bored, I skip the cutscenes and just make up my own narrative instead. I have to say this has helped me enjoy the game a lot more, and I try to ignore the feelings of betrayal from Squeenix, who made a fucking story out of a Disney Hearts pseudoscience but can't make 8 consistently good characters. Here's to hoping later on I can give a feedback that says, yo, Oompa Loompa Taffy Puller gets so good. For now, it's skipping time. Now here, first of all, appreciate the kind words, Krita. I'm sorry you're not enjoying certain aspects of the game, and I totally understand it. You've surpassed me in the game already. I'm only about 7 hours in, which is concerning. I was hoping, it would have it took me by now, and it to a degree it does, but I'm totally distracted by other things.
By good games?
By addicting games.
Better games?
But yes, I will say that, I think. But it always seems strange to me when people like enjoy one aspect of a game, but like hate everything else yet continue to go. I am totally the opposite. If there's even one aspect of the game that turns me off dramatically, I'm like, this is not worth my time. So like if I wasn't enjoying like the story at all, and I would have turned this off a long time ago and never played it and stopped and not continued playing it. So I don't know.
I mean,
I feel like I'm weird in that
not
regard
bad. I mean, it's worse. It's just kind of boring, but you know.
Honestly, that's for me.
I mean, I'm 8 hours in. I still haven't gotten more than 4 characters.
For me, a game with a bad story is better than a boring game.
Yeah.
Like I would rather be kind of like even almost like just over the top. Like this is so fucking stupid. Something stupid, in my opinion, is better than something that's just straight up boring.
Like Angelina Jolie punching a shark.
I mean, yeah.
I guess. Had to go back to that old Tomb Raider movie argument.
I think I generally agree with that. The only caveat I would say would be like a game where the story is the game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
JRPGs are so reliant on their story. To
But
be,
I think
like, a
JRPGs
huge...
also have a lot more elements
Sure.
going on. I mean, you have the combat element. You often have like kind of mini games and stuff
Yeah,
like
you
that.
have like a whole RPG system.
But if
to,
I hate
like-
the characters in an RPG, I'm like, why am I even playing?
I agree with that. If I didn't give a shit about anything that was going on, like numbers alone probably aren't going to carry me through
exactly.
the experience.
Yeah. I mean, like, imagine playing a tabletop RPG where the characters and the story suck. Would you still do it?
Yeah, that's my game. That's
It all depends for me. But I mean, I sort of just weighed what I was getting out of Octopath Traveler versus kind of what I was looking for, and it just wasn't it at the time.
Sure. I mean, I'm gonna keep going with it. I don't know how much farther I'll take it. I'm hoping I get through it and finish it. But you know, I still only, like I said, only have half the characters. One Mr. Boy says the Uncharted short film was a dream come true for those of us who saw Drake as Fillion from day one. I do think a better direction for the movie would be to have him in the role, but allow him to be a little older by making it about him and his spoiler alert. Oh, maybe I shouldn't read that.
I mean, you can
Don't
say
read that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
him
not
and
even
his
worth,
blank.
not even
It's a
worth-
spoiler from Uncharted 4.
Him and his giant.
As to Krispy's point about taking Drake seriously, one of the reasons the first game was so great was that Drake was really the first third-person action-adventure character to have real charisma, something that has admittedly been copied and watered down in the years since, so I can understand how one could see the character now as a bit cliche. Crispy? How do
so
you feel?
I actually do have a follow-up to our discussion from last week because we talked about it and
Hold on.
Oh my god, did
Hold on.
you start playing Uncharted?
Hold on. I got to prepare myself to start yelling at people. All right, let's go.
Why'd you say that, Nolan? Why'd you say that? Let's go. Get it out, Crispy, get it out!
okay. So
Fuck you. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I wasn't as committed to the point that I think you guys thought I was making. That like he's this like I'm super serious and I'm not a funny guy kind of like action hero, which isn't really what I was saying. But I went home and I got on YouTube like as soon as I got home and I typed in Nathan Drake funny, you know, just to find and like I found a whole bunch of like cuts of just like every humorous moment from like all the games, and I watched a couple of them and I'm like, okay, this makes more sense now. Like, and I was thinking about Nathan Fillion the whole time and I was like, yeah, okay, I could totally see that. I could definitely see that. I could absolutely see that. And then so I recently like had to like kind of delete and reformat my PlayStation, so I like lost all my game. I didn't lose everything, but like it uninstalled all my games.
Sure.
On there, right?
Uh-huh.
So I was back through in the library looking through like my PlayStation Plus games, and I saw that I had the Nathan Drake collection from PlayStation Plus.
Is it happening?
For something, and I installed it. I haven't started playing
Oh!
The first one
that's still
kinda
good. That's
sucks.
still
it,
good.
but it's like sitting there
One step.
staring at me on the home screen.
If
every
you don't
day,
like the
and I'm
first game, that's okay. Play it on easy.
yeah.
No, hold on. Yeah, so I would honestly recommend play all the games on easy, dude. Those games aren't about the
sure.
challenge,
I'm not-
and
yeah.
especially like those are the types of games like kind of Nick was talking about earlier. When I like, and it hasn't happened too often, but there's been a couple of those games where I played because I actually played through all of those games, Christy, in the
Yeah.
Nathan Drake collection on hard, like the hardest difficulty. And when those games are, I think I platinumed all 3 of them just because I fucking like that series. But when those games get difficult, it's like frustrating to the point where it's like, why am I doing this?
not like a
this
fun
should not be
difficulty.
like, it's not fun. So honestly, I would recommend, dude, fucking play them on easy. Just enjoy the set pieces, enjoy the story, enjoy the couple shooty bang bang moments. But like,
on a related
play
note,
those for their difficulty.
On a related note, and I feel like I said this in Discord in the Resident Evil channel. So I finished Resident Evil Remake last week, and I found out when I finished it that I accidentally played it on easy. I had no,
Oh,
You
I had no,
fucking
I
wuss.
know. I was kind of upset. And the only reason I found out is because I when you beat a game on like hard, it'll give you like all the preceding difficulty
yeah.
trophies.
Right.
I only got
You
the
only
2
got
trophies
up to
for very
easy?
easy, and I was like, what the fuck? And it totally made sense because I was like, that explains why I had so much ammo and so many herbs. And I was like,
so I can
This kind of ruins your opinion.
but like it was so it was actually a very enjoyable experience is what I'm trying to
Sure,
get at.
but it's going to make this whole process less scientific, I feel like.
There's only one game out of 8, 9 that I'm going to play.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
But
Sorry,
it is
Crispy.
one
I
of
didn't mean to
those.
derail.
My point is though, like, though I wasn't necessarily arguing against you guys last week, I can definitely now more clearly understand why you'd be so hesitant to divorce the idea of like that character from his
Gotcha.
like why you would be more hesitant to say like, oh, he's not a very humorous character, because like he obviously is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, for
Cool.
sure.
Well,
I will say that
thank you for the update.
The end of Uncharted 1,
Yeah.
holy shit, that gets kind of fucking scary.
Yeah, it gets
No,
it gets
that's
pretty spoopy.
scary.
Yes.
Yeah, it like I actually when I think about like replaying Uncharted, I hesitate for a minute because the thought of playing that sequence alone freaks me the fuck
It's not
out.
just scary, it's hard until you learn, I should just shoot from the hip. Just learn to shoot from the hip, and it goes a lot easier.
Play on easy and shoot from the hip.
Yeah.
Anyways, I hope you, if you play it, Crispy, let us know.
Well, it's there.
I think after the first one,
I
would do
it's
normal. I think they're good shooters.
No, they are. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The first one,
I
you play it on
really
easy just
wish
to get
we'd had that conversation like 2 or 3 weeks ago, though.
Yeah.
Because I've had a lot of, like, the last few weeks, I've had a lot of time where, like, I don't have a lot of free time, but when I have a bit of free time, I'm like, I should play a game, and I'm just sitting there going, like, what should I play? And then I end up, like, dumping 6 more hours into Darkest Dungeon, you know?
Dude, in 6 hours, you could beat the original Uncharted.
Yeah. And
Maybe 8.
for sure.
I wish that came out in 1998.
Well,
And now I've got, like,
Hey, you could play the 98 Uncharted. Play
Yeah.
a little Lara Croft.
yeah. But then, like, now, you know, so, like, I've got that one. I'm still putting in time on Yakuza 0 every once in a while, like,
wow.
whenever
Hey,
I can.
we all know what's up. There's so many things we all
But
want to play.
now, like, No Man's Sky's out in fucking Dead Cells.
Which we'll talk about that in a minute. I have one more bit of feedback to read from Scarecrow. He's our last comment today. He says, "This isn't feedback for the last episode, but I did want to give some praise with how you guys are doing podcasts lately. I feel there's tons of variety for listeners out there and many options each week. The different styles and show lengths with the main show, 4Player Plus, and then and the David and Brad podcasts are wonderful. Then as a cherry on top, we get some freeform trailer talk sessions just about every broadcast. I wondered if Krispy, Nolan, or Chris Davis would want their own shows to talk about things they can't on the main show."
We actually talked about this a long time ago, doing something similar to that, but it just never happened.
I mean,
Like,
It's
That's kinda what I
It's
did
not
end up-
something that isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just that, like, I've definitely thought a lot about. In fact, just today I was thinking about I would do a show, and I think I would mostly talk about what other, like, maybe comic books, or I've been wanting to talk a lot about, like, Dungeons and Dragons lately.
Yeah.
So I might do something like that. Maybe I could just do a side podcast that's just people playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Absolutely.
I don't know. But we'll see.
Absolutely.
Aren't you going to do your
I need to.
your episode by episode Titans podcast?
Oh yeah, my Titans breakdown show. God,
I mean,
I don't like that I'm not excited about most DC things coming out nowadays. This really is like
I heard
hurts my
people
soul.
like Shazam.
Yeah, Shazam. That was like the Shazam trailer looked fucking awesome. Like
did you watch that trailer, bro? Dude, actually, I liked it.
I can't wait for that movie. But everything else, like it's like Shazam and Teen Titans Go, like are the only points of light of like animation and movies coming out. But everything else is just like, oh, come on.
well, I'm glad you're enjoying the breadth of content we're doing. That's kind of why I started doing 4Player Plus, because I realized there's a lot of stuff we would like to talk about, and we were trying to do all these like separate things where like, popcorn cast and spoiler cast and dinner time cast and stuff, and I was like, well, why don't we just call it one thing, and then just every week we just do whatever is relevant at the time, and we can have different people on different episodes to talk about different topics. Like that's kind of where 4Player Plus came from, and we've been pretty good at doing them each week. There's, obviously I'm not going to do them every single week, like I didn't do one this week, but I'm hoping maybe we can do some in August, talk about some of the stuff that's happening, that's coming out in August, perhaps. We'll see what happens. No, August. Like all of the, Chasm and Dead Cells.
We talk about those on the show.
Because it's 1998 month, and we're talking about 98 games.
Oh, for some reason I thought 1998 month was in July.
July's almost over.
It's July.
July is almost over.
I wish it was!
Anyways, first of all, thank you, Scarecrow, for the kind words. Thank you, everybody, for leaving feedback. Like I said, if you have anything you want to say after tonight's episode, all you got to do is drop us a comment at 4playernetwork.com on the post for this episode, and we'll get to it next week. Now, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of video games. I don't want to spend a lot of the stuff we've already kind of covered, so I want to talk about the two things that we haven't talked about yet.
First? Or save them?
I want to talk about the things we haven't talked about yet, and then we'll talk about the things that we had talked about.
Well, we definitely haven't talked
about No Man's Sky.
We've talked a lot about No Man's
I know.
God, we've talked about so much No Man's Sky.
But
and pretty sure the game I'm going to talk about we've never mentioned on this podcast before.
Oh, that's probably true, but I'm overriding you as the host of the show.
Yeah.
Wait,
Crispy.
so we're doing the exact opposite of what you said?
Yes.
Oh.
We're literally talking about the oldest game
Tell
we're going
us
to talk
about
about
No
tonight.
Man's
But
Sky.
it's a huge update, and everybody's talking about it. It's the very hype
I
thing right
retweeted a No Man's Sky tweet.
Yeah.
Which one?
now.
The Sean Murray one.
Which the one where it's underwater caves?
Yeah.
What is that? I don't know what you're talking
They
about.
you gotta watch
there's
the GIF.
there's actual underwater caves now.
Oh,
He just
there's
goes
huge
diving
ones.
like deep down.
Did you see the one the other day of like the base building gif that he
Yeah.
posted, where it's like it starts with a dude standing on top of a tower and he jumps off and he's just like falling for like a whole minute. Like they just built this massive tower. It's so
Up
great.
into space.
Oh, before we go on, a note on this video right here. I'm looking at the ship right now because they added a shit ton of new detail to the ships.
It seems like they added a lot of detail to everything.
All of that like paneling and those little vents and like the tail numbers and like the paint and all that shit. That's all brand new. They've added a lot of interesting little detail tweaks across the board.
I will say this too, just on a
Some of them are still coming too. They're not completely into
Yeah.
one. Like I know there's they're
not in the
redoing
game
clouds,
yet.
like how they do clouds.
Yeah.
Which will look a lot better because you'll see in this footage they still look kind of just like amorphous whiteness.
Do you
They're
fly
not
off the
really-
planet in this footage at all?
Yeah. It takes a couple minutes, but I get out into space. This is a 30-minute video.
This is
So-
our life now.
Yeah.
Fortnite.
This looks dramatically different. Just from like the first thing I noticed when you booted it was like, I don't remember this game looking this crisp, this nice. Like, and not to mention the
it
first
looks
few
pretty
things.
crisp
The first thing, like
when it
these
came
first
out.
like few things that you're messing around with here in the building, I don't think I ever saw those.
Yeah, that's all equipment.
The doors,
none
that's
of,
different.
like so the base building and the equipment that I was using and that stuff that stuff's been around. Mm-hmm. They've been slowly implementing different systems like that in. Basically, they've completely reworked the economy of the different materials that you need and how you produce resources, and a lot of it now funnels back into specific equipment you have to build. So you have to go out and like find elements and then refine them to make better materials to build, technology or fuel or shit like that, right?
Gotcha.
So what I'm doing here is really early in the story of the game. I didn't realize this because we were talking earlier about there's apparently a bug going around where
Yes.
like it's resetting everyone's progress.
It's deleting. It'll say that it has your it'll say that you.
It has like
your time.
It has appropriate playtime, but like it starts you on a brand new planet, kind of at the beginning, and you at the beginning of the story progress, and you have to redo everything.
A bug.
I
Resume
don't.
the death threat.
So I don't know if I was affected by that. I honestly, because I don't remember where I was in the save file because it's been a really long time since I played, and I think I made this file when Atlas Rising came out.
Yeah.
And I played it for a little while and then kind of put it away. but it did reset. Like I was on a new planet. I didn't have any previously discovered planets, but I had like all the inventory I remember. But like my ship didn't have hyperdrive, and I had to do a quest to get the materials to build a hyperdrive. It was really weird. Like I haven't, like, I had all my money and my stuff, but I didn't have all of my stuff. I don't know. So I don't know exactly what's been going on with the progression reset, because I know they regenerated the universe. Like they reset all of that. So everything
with the release of Next.
Yeah. So everything is like supposed to be new. And that comes into where they were like adding in like the stuff you were talking about, like the deeper oceans, like the underwater caves. They were adding, like new structures, and I mean just all sorts. They were adding like rings to some of the planets. They, crazy shit like that. Like the vibrating eggs, which I still haven't gotten one of those yet, but apparently that's a humming egg. I'm sorry,
whispering egg.
Yeah, there's like a whole thing about like. You can find these eggs and like spawn some kind of monster that'll try to murder you or something. I don't know. There's a lot of weird stories floating around on Twitter. Overall, I'm really impressed.
Yeah,
I really like it. It definitely is a lot easier. I mean, before the game was just kind of this like, Zen rock garden of just like moving things around and wandering around and just kind of doing things and just losing yourself in following your immediate whims,
That was honestly, and just not to interrupt, but that's kind of one of the reasons I didn't play it. Like, conceptually, it looked like I would have a lot of fun. The game looked interesting. It looked beautiful. I like the concept of having.
It still has one of my favorite soundtracks of the last.
And I listen to that soundtrack almost every day. I have a gaming playlist, and No Man's Sky soundtrack is on that list. But I just couldn't let myself get into a game where I just felt like I would just be doing the same shit over and over and not getting anywhere. And so, honestly, it's frustrating that I'm on the online looking at buying the game right now because it looks like it's kind of where I need it to be to want to play it.
It's definitely like, I what I've found is that I have much more focus in every kind of like ongoing minute of what I'm doing. Like even when I was recording this footage, I didn't mean to record 30 minutes of footage. I just did because I was like, I finished one task and then I wanted to do the next thing, But it's doing a pretty good job of pushing you forward, or at least giving you a direction to progress if you want to.
Yeah.
So I like that. It definitely has more focus, and everything feels like it matters a little more.
Planets.
Oh, and so
Are those really there?
I know we talked about this a little bit. Yeah, you can go to all those planets, right, Krispy?
Yeah.
Someone said, "Can you build a structure from one planet to the next?" And then someone responded, "That would take more than a lifetime."
It probably would. I mean, if you look at I don't know if you can read the actual timer on that, but anytime you're like flying to a destination, it'll tell you how long it'll take you to get there. And when you're just on like regular thrusters,
does this run?
Wait.
It's literally like weeks to get to like different planets.
So and if you actually try to do that without using your
thrusters,
like
you probably wouldn't be able to generate enough resources to build a structure long enough to stretch from one planet to the next. You know what I'm saying?
But do you have enough gas to just fly normally from one planet to the next?
You do. I mean, you have to keep harvesting minerals, but they're pretty common minerals.
No, but I mean, does it take less resources to like hyper jump to another planet than it would be to just fly to another planet?
It takes different resources, but no, it doesn't take less, because when you're flying normally, so you're like regular thrusters, just like flying at normal speeds doesn't consume any fuel. The only thing that consumes fuel are your launch thrusters, the things that actually let you take off.
Yeah.
Your impulse engines, which are like the in-system warp, like when you see me like line up with something and it's like 3, 2, 1, like that is impulse engines. And then your warp drive, which is the big one that takes you to different star systems, that requires fuel.
What I'm saying is,
but
you know how Nick doesn't like to like fast travel in games?
Yeah.
Do you think there are like crazy
Nick
people
would
out
die
there
if he stuck to that philosophy in this game?
But do you think there's people out
fast
there that
travel
are
in this
like
game
that?
is different.
Oh, you can definitely. Well, okay, hang on. That was a fucking joke. I wasn't like.
No, but you do like fast traveling in this game is not the same as like fast traveling like The Witcher.
No, I know.
No, I mean, but there's like a teleporter network now,
just
so there is like a fast travel system.
I wouldn't use that.
But yeah, I mean, you can definitely like when you're on a planet, when I'm on a planet, I tend to like fly over and just like randomly hit my scanner just to see if I like anything interesting pops up, you know? So people do fly, and I ran into situations last night where I can't remember what happened, but I was in a game and a couple other dudes joined my game, and they came to the same planet that I was on. And then I think like one of them started building a base, and then I laid a marker to his base, and later on I was trying to fly somewhere off the planet. Like I was trying to fly to a space station orbiting the planet, and this is really weird, and this is probably fucking terrible podcasting, but I can't remember if I was locked on and I couldn't figure out how to unlock it or what the fuck was going on, but it was this weird thing where like every time I try to impulse away from the planet and like fly towards the space station, it would instantly like do a 180 and snap me back on that guy's base and fly me towards it.
Oh.
So
that's
I
weird.
couldn't use my impulse to go to the space station that I wanted to go. So I literally had to like line up and fly for like 8 minutes to get there with like my regular speed thrusters.
Cool.
And what sucks about that is there's like asteroid fields everywhere in the interplanetary space.
Yeah.
So you have to pay attention or else you're just going to be like flying into asteroids. So I had to like work my lasers too.
It's like
to make
Desert
sure.
Bus.
Yeah.
You know, you have slightly drift into the left.
Yeah, but like not even but the cool thing is like even if a giant asteroid came towards you, you could just like fire your lasers and like punch a hole through it like as you're flying, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually ran into a situation where like my impulse drive was fucked up for some reason. I think it was just a bug and I couldn't use it.
Resume the
So
death
I
thrust.
had to just like fly the old fashioned way, and like it took a long time. I like was holding my thruster and like watching a TV show. You know, like it sucked. But I don't think that's,
that's
I haven't had any problems
That
like
kind
that
of
since.
reminded me. I was talking with one of my coworkers today about how he has a gaming PC and he has one game on Steam, and it's like a flight simulator.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, "Yeah, I'll always just take off, and then I'll put the plane on autopilot and do something else."
Like, why the fuck are you? He's just
What the
really
fuck are you
interested
even
in
playing
the
the game
takeoff and
for?
landing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And he just autopilot.
I mean, those are
to
the
his
really
destination.
eventful parts.
No,
I guess.
Yeah, I had a friend when I was in high school who was into like flight sims, and the most fascinating part was when he could just do like real time, like
Flight
Take off the
flight travel.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like,
Oh, it's gonna take 3 hours to get
Pride
to LA.
Swine-
He's all psyched.
Pride Swine in chat is asking,
I swear to God.
or not Pride Swine, Big Wazoo in chat asks if there's no space combat, and that's not the case. There's definitely space combat. The only
There was
reason
space combat in the original.
there was. The only reason why I didn't have to worry about that is because I was in a relatively peaceful system, so there weren't like pirates flying around.
Yeah.
But like some systems, if you had to fly through just normal space without your thrusters for like 10 minutes, it fucking sucks. Like that used to happen to me all the time in the last update, where like pirates would come by and just start shooting at me and blow me up, or like they literally just like fly by and steal something from your inventory.
Wow.
Like it sucked. So
With a quick flyby, they can do that?
yeah, I don't know if they can still do that, but I kind of remember something. I don't know. Don't ask me questions.
So I have 2 questions.
no.
2 questions. One, I see they've added a third person. That was for this update, right? The
Yes.
third person perspective?
Third person was a new thing.
First of all, I think the character designs look awesome.
Yeah, this one is specifically a
They're little space-
Corvax like race. There's different races you can
Oh,
make.
cool. Their little space people designs are pretty dope.
Some of them are really weird. There's a group called Anomaly, and like some of them, their head, like there's one where like the head is just a ball of light with this like weird mechanical apparatus, like kind of looks like an astrolabe or something like around
Weird.
it. Like yeah, there's some fucking wild ones.
I've seen a lot. So like a lot of the screenshots people have been posting and stuff on Twitter, because everyone's talking about this right now on Twitter.
Yeah.
A lot of the screenshots I've been seeing have been people playing in third person. Is that kind of like the way to play now?
I think it's up to you.
They're probably
I was
just doing it
playing-
because they can.
I was playing it last night in first person because I was used to that. I only did third person for this video, just so everyone could see
Could
it.
see it, yeah.
And I actually did kind of start liking it while I was playing it like that.
Yeah.
Can I say that like it's amazing that so many people are talking about and playing this game right now?
I know.
Because like this became like a fucking villain in this
Pariah.
industry, right? Like the Steam reviews, like I saw the tweet from Sean Murray that's like, we're mixed.
We're back to
We're up to mixed.
Don't sell.
on
Don't
Steam.
buy.
Like people hated this thing. They were sending the man death threats. It became like both a joke and a tragedy.
Dude, that's what I'm fucking saying, man.
People it's almost like all that was just bullshit. They just wanted to be pissed because everyone's back on this game's dick.
Not everybody.
And that's a great thing. It lets us know that, like, at the end of the day, people just want to play a good fucking video game, no matter how big of assholes they might seem like. And that's good. It's good. It's a success story, right?
It's one of the biggest like comebacks I've ever
maybe
seen.
Maybe we'll get Fez 2 one day.
Like,
Who
we
knows?
don't fucking... Yeah, I mean, I'm so fucking thankful that, like, that team decided to keep working on this when, like, all logic should have told them to just,
cut
like...
their losses and
to
run.
never
That's exactly
talk about
what,
this thing again.
What the Fez... what's his face did?
Because,
Phil
like,
Fish did.
we
Phil
definitely
Fish,
don't fucking deserve this game to have been worked on and improved over the last 2 years, but we got it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean...
No, I think it's great.
That's fucking awesome. And yeah...
Is there any new music in the new update?
There is new music.
Oh!
It's not by the same band, though. It's they hired somebody else.
Is it
to do
still as good?
I mean, honestly, I haven't.
Does it blend well with everything else?
I haven't like heard anything that I was like, that's not the original music. But there's not really like songs in the game.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's all been very kind of like ambient music,
Atmosphere,
but like an
yeah.
atmospheric music. But like there's some songs in that soundtrack that are like 7 or 8 minutes, and
Yeah.
it's just like chill fucking music, and that's that's what I love
It's
about
still
it.
very much that.
I know we talked a little bit about it when Atlas Rising came out, and they had added some stuff that kind of like some additional like story plot points that like steer you in a direction other than like just trying to get to the center of the universe. Have they done any more of that with this? Or
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really caught back up to where I was with that.
oh right. Got it.
So I haven't seen much of it. Like here in this part, I'm still like trying to collect the materials that I need to build a thing that'll help me build warp fuel.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, by that point in Atlas, I was a few stations along and had kind of like progressed that story a little bit, and that got really interesting because the whole thing had to do with the with like the Stargate network, the warp gates.
Yeah.
And it had to do with like somebody basically like getting lost inside of it and like contacting you from inside. It was
That's
was
cool.
really cool. But I don't. Yeah. I haven't seen any new stuff basically.
Well,
Yeah.
But I'm still really into it. I'm still
Cool.
definitely
Well,
going to be playing.
Give
this.
us an update when you have more to say about it. For
Yeah.
sure. This is definitely a game I know I'm eventually going to get back to at some point. I'm kind of wondering if I kind of want to just wait until they're definitely going to do some kind of like complete edition or something, right? Where they release everything on a disc. I might just wait for
What do
that.
you mean?
Like they're going to release like a new disc that's going to have like everything, all the updates and shit on it. I don't have
It's
the game.
called No Man's Sky.
I don't have the game anymore. I have to go out.
You go buy.
But
it.
if you buy the game, you
just-
get everything.
When you know, like it's
the patch,
it's
right?
the patches that like when you install a game and the patch
Crispy,
loads.
Nick wants the patches on a disc.
I would like the patches on a disc. Is what I'm saying. They're going to do it eventually. Probably they're just going to release a new edition of the game.
Oh,
It's
I
going to
don't
have
think
everything
they
on it.
are. I don't know why they would.
Well, this is an online game, so
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't really matter.
Have you played any multiplayer with anybody?
Yeah, like I said, some people just like showed up in my world
Oh,
the other night, and it was
that's
kind
cool.
of like I haven't played with anybody that I know, and like these people like we didn't have mic communication, and like all of their notifications were in like French or something, so there wasn't really we like waved and then just kind of like did our own thing.
It's like Journey.
Yeah, it does seem like. What I will say is I think that multiplayer being in this game is awesome, and I think that's great for people who want to do it. I don't think that it's quite the magical experience that like I remember wanting before the game came out.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea behind this game being multiplayer and why that would have been cool would have been everybody in a single world. Just like out there in the far reaches of space, and then like maybe after playing for like 10-20 hours you like see somebody else running around,
Yeah.
and like that moment was supposed to be like the journey moment of
Yeah.
like, oh my god, like there's other people around here. That would have been a really cool experience to have. You're not going to get that with this because it's literally just like a 4-player lobby system.
Yeah.
And you can leave yours open for other people to join. There's an option on the menu to like join a friends or to just join a random one. So the game, you know, and the game like gives you notifications like, oh, somebody just logged into your world, somebody's in your world, and then like they're always on your mini map, so you can always see like even if they're on another planet, you can see them like what direction of the solar system they're in.
It almost seems like a little like
So it's like it's not. It is very much more of like a very pragmatic practically minded multiplayer. It's not that kind of like
obtuse
human
magical
experience, like artistic.
Isn't that sad
concept
though, right?
that,
Because Sean Murray probably
That's-
never wanted this, and it's like
Right.
artistically compromised.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it would have been
But-
amazing, but even the game as it existed before didn't have that. So
Yeah.
I guess if we're ending up with a compromise vision, the one in which it's just the pragmatic kind of nuts and bolts version of that, instead of like the emergent, experienced, artistic vision of that, is where I'd rather be on that. But you know,
Yeah.
it is a little disappointing to think about.
Cool. All right. Well, update us when you have more to say about
But
it.
yeah,
for
for sure.
All right, Brad.
God.
The time has come for you to talk about Blinx the Time Sweeper.
The Time Sweeper, not Binks, Blinx.
So again, why are you playing this game? How'd you end up? This is a
Bad-
David thing, right?
But yeah, bad bet. You know, like it wasn't even a bet.
Don't make
I
bets
was
with
like, you
David
need to
involving
finish
beating games. You'll lose.
Wonderful 101, and he's like, okay, well, you got to finish Blinks, and I was like, okay. So I'm playing Blinks, the Time Sweeper.
Isn't the sad part of this that David didn't even like Wonderful 101 or something?
No, he didn't, and he finished it like almost instantly,
didn't?
and he didn't really like it. And he also finished Yakuza 6 and didn't really like it.
But
So
David's
never
also a weird
recommend
animal,
anything
He
to
has
like
interesting
David
tastes.
because he's got unique tastes. But not someone who it's not that he likes weird games. It's just it's hard to pin him down, so it's hard to make recommendations. You know what I mean?
I do.
So I've been playing Blinx the Time Sweeper. This original Xbox exclusive. You know,
How are you playing this on your Xbox?
I'm playing on my Xbox. Yeah, I have a copy of Blinx the Time Sweeper. I've had it forever. You know. I probably picked it up for a couple bucks from like a GameStop or something. And now I'm finally playing it. So it's like a.
Is this like a thing
like
like
a Christmas
was this like a thing
miracle.
where David remembered seeing that on your shelf when y'all lived together?
No,
Like once,
no.
like you never played that.
It's not about that.
Nah.
It's just I think he legitimately really likes this game and the story, with which there are two cutscenes in the game, one at the very start and one at the very end. And he loves the ending to this game, and there's literally no story at all, like between any of these levels. But yeah, this is a platformer, and it really is a platformery-ass platformer. I feel like even today, when you get a platformer, you're not even doing that much platforming. Think about like Mario Odyssey, right? That's
Yeah.
like the only platformer these days, and even that game didn't have a lot of straight-up platforming.
Well, it did once you started getting in past like the main game. And stuff,
Yeah, I know, but it's just the occasional like bonus area or whatever, your side area. You know, this is like straight up a platformer slash shoot garbage at things.
With a what is this
With
weird
a
vac?
time system. You have a vacuum, you're a time sweeper, you're sweeping up garbage and you're using it as
you're a
ammo.
time sucker.
Yeah, you are kind of a time sucker. And you're using it as ammo, and the goal is to get through this stage while killing all the enemies in under 10 minutes. But the twist is you have time abilities, like you can rewind and record and pause and slow down, and they're, like you probably imagine. I got
He's stuck
by the
behind
door a
this
little bit,
door.
yeah. The only thing that's pretty strange and weird that I really don't like about this game is that all your time powers are from picking up these different colored crystals that look like Lucky Charm shapes, right? The thing is, you have an inventory. You can hold 4 of them at a time, and once you pick up 4, you get a power up, right? But you have to have 3 of the same kind to get that particular power up. For example, if I get 3 stars, and 1 random gem, I get a single slowdown power up, right?
Uh-huh.
A single slowdown power up. If I get all 4 of the same gem, then you get double. I get 2 slowdown power ups. The problem is there's these gems all over the place, and if you accidentally pick up like 2 of a random color or whatever, you're not going to get like any fucking gem any power up, right? Because if you pick up 3 different kinds, even if you have 2 of the same, you don't get the power up. But they're littered everywhere, and like enemies drop them, and you'll accidentally pick up shit you don't want to pick up, overriding your chance to actually get a time power up. So you have to be very careful and calculated with the gems you pick up, and it's just really weird because you might come across a little area and see a couple of the same kind, so you're like, well, I guess I'll pick up a couple of these green ones and hopefully I'll come across another green one later. And but then you don't, and you're like, well, fuck, I guess I should just pick up a couple and reset my hand, because you can't drop them. You can't drop them. You're just stuck with whatever you picked up.
So,
and,
Brett, let me interject real quick.
yeah,
I still have no fucking idea what this game is.
it's a platformer.
But, like,
with time powers.
What do you have like a goal?
Yeah, you get through each stage, killing all the enemies and getting to the end.
Do you not? Is the level not complete unless you defeat all the enemies?
Correct, and it's time, so
Jesus.
you have
So
to find them. You have to
can we
kill
talk
them.
more about these time powers? Like, what were you just doing right here? What is this time?
This is a record time power, so I'm trying to solve a simple double switch like puzzle.
So you're kind of like making a clone of yourself.
Yeah. This is the first time I had to do it. Except I fuck it up, and then I have to go back in the stage to find the green crystals to generate the record power up, and I was like, oh
sucks.
god, like I can't complete this puzzle. And I'm pretty sure I got lucky. I found the right number of crystals. I could have gotten to a situation where I just couldn't have completed this level. But this was the first time in the game where I've encountered this issue. Mostly, you're just using these power-ups to give you the upper hand in combat. But here, it's an actual puzzle that I almost wasn't able to solve because it's a little clunky getting these mechanics down, or at least getting these switches. But this isn't. I feel like this game gets a bad rap, maybe because you're a cat and with a vacuum.
Watching you try to open this door.
Well, generally,
over and
cats
It's
are
really
afraid of
frustrating.
vacuum, so it doesn't make sense. Like it just doesn't flow well.
Confirmed.
It should. If the cat had like a ball of yarn, that would make sense.
It seemed like a cheap attempt for Microsoft to have kind of their own mascot platformer.
Who even made this game?
I don't know, some studio. It was like this is a first-party Microsoft game. I'm pretty sure. So
Tell me, not every level has this water effect because it's really obnoxious.
no. This is just the world I'm in.
Okay.
Wait a second. Are you underwater technically?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know what's going on.
Let's say because this cat
He's
has a
inside
vacuum
Jabu
and it's
Jabu.
underwater. I don't buy it for 1 second.
No, I'm not swimming.
He's
It's
in
just,
Jabu
it's just
Jabu.
the aesthetic. But what I'm saying is, I don't think this game is actually really that bad. Like the gym system is a little awkward, but like I said, there's some legitimate like platforming, which is nice because you don't really see that anymore. And kind of shooting enemies, that stuff feels pretty good as well by shooting junk at them. And I think this game just gets a bad rap because it seemed like really stupid, like a little dated to have a mascot platformer.
Well,
what I mean?
it very much reminds me of like that, like when you see the box on the shelf for this kind of game. Like back in the day when it came out, it was kind of like, kind of like that bargain bin, like fake mascot character type thing. That kind of like I never played this for that reason primarily because I was like I've never heard of this mascot character. Well,
it was there was several early Xbox, like Grabbed by the Ghoulies or Voodoo Vents. It was just their attempt of like, well, we have a console, we got to have stuff for kids, so we got to get these studios making these mascot games, and I think they got kind of all of them on Xbox kind of got a bad rap, but I don't think any of them are really all that bad. They just got kind of that bad rap, you know. And
is the deal is the part of the bet you have to complete this game?
Well, the part of it is me seeing that ending. So yeah, I have to play through it. I finished 3 worlds out of 9 though, so I still got a ways to go.
You sound so thrilled.
Yeah, if it was absolutely terrible, I probably wouldn't be playing it. But it's fine.
Brad, making the best out of a bad situation.
Yeah, best out of a bad situation. Just be careful what bets you make.
Yeah, I've stopped. I think
and don't ever do a game completion bet with David because he's a fucking madman. He'll just stay up till 8 in the morning finishing a game.
I think I decided to stop making bets with David a long time ago. Yeah. I feel like I always lost.
By the way, this puzzle looks frustrating, but it's really simple. I was just being stupid.
What in the world? That was weird.
It's a monster. That's what you do in mascot platformers. You fight monsters. Like this is a guy that when you shoot shit at him, he just eats it and gets bigger and bigger. Yeah. So you got to use your time powers to kind of get, circle strafe the motherfucker and shoot him in the back. You know what I mean?
As one does. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. All right. Well, thanks, Brad.
Yeah, Blinx the Time Sweeper. I haven't really played much, but I did play a little bit of this, and I had to have to talk about something. So
cool.
I think it's maybe backwards compatible on your Xbone.
I think it probably is too. Nolan,
what up, Nick?
You have a Frostpunk update for us?
Yes, dude, I've been fucking addicted to this game. I don't know. I think I don't remember like a lot of hours.
Many hours.
Yeah. So I completed the first scenario, A New Home, which is essentially you get out of London. the world's really frosty. You find a generator, survive for like 40-something days.
Wait, this game takes place in London?
Outside of London. I think you're like north of, I don't know, something like that.
Because it looks like the Antarctic.
Well, the entire world's like frozen over. They like at the beginning.
Oh, so this is a new area.
Yeah, so this is something different from what you've seen before. But like at the beginning, it shows them like they're crossing like an ocean that's completely frozen over. Like there's ships that are like sticking out of like ocean that's like 40 feet thick ice.
Nice.
But yeah, and so this is the second scenario. I've actually completed this one as well, and I've moved on to a third scenario. But this one is called the Arcs. And the concept behind this one is you have 4 arcs, or essentially they're just giant buildings filled with seeds. And you need to keep the seeds cold, but not too cold. I guess warmth doesn't affect them, but essentially you just don't want the seeds to freeze, because if they freeze completely, they're useless.
Seeds are specifically for like growing stuff.
Yes, because you need
Where do you grow food here?
You have the mission of essentially once this frosty world is gone, you need to be able to replant life.
Oh,
and so you have these 4 arcs.
Gotcha, makes sense.
And this one is all about automatons. So you only have like 44 people or something, or 45 people. You only ever get one more person. Everything else you have to build automatons to have them run your city. And so at one point I think I had like 14 automatons.
Are those
14,
like the weird
little walker robots?
The protocol droid looking motherfuckers?
Yeah. They're more like almost like ATSTs. They're fucking huge.
I think it's pronounced automatons.
Oh, sorry. Automatons.
No, that's a near joke.
Yeah, I know, I got it. But anyway, so yeah, and I kind of have some frustrations with this game, and I talked about them with chat the other day as I was playing it, and I actually completed this scenario on my stream the other day, and I started the third one. But like one of my big frustrations with this game is there's a lot of like, I think it's to make you replay the game, but they don't tell you a lot. Like, so towards the end of it, there's this city, and they send a bunch of people out, because they somehow found we were here or something, or they're on an expedition, and like, oh, thank God we found you. We have a city, and we're in dire need of help. You need to send supplies. And it tells you, hey, you got to send 3 supply missions. And it says 1 out of 3, 9 days to complete. But what it means is, you have 9 days to complete all 3 of them, not the 1 out of the 3. And it doesn't tell you what the other 2 things are until you've completed the ones preceding them. Which is frustrating, because it's like the first one's like, oh, you need 600 wood and like, I don't know, like 500 steel and an automaton. And then as soon as you complete that and send it to them, they're like, all right, now we need this. But like the problem is, if I don't know what I need, I can't like start prepping that thing. And so
you can't
like,
really plan ahead.
Yeah, and so I had chat, and I'm like, hey chat, like, you want to just tell me what it is? Like, because I don't want to fucking have it be...
But like, this game is about like getting fucked.
But like, but do you understand what I'm saying though? If there was a city that's like, hey, we need supplies, they wouldn't be like, we need this, and we'll tell you what we need after as soon as you give us that. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, we need this, and we need this, and we need this, but we need them in this order. Then I'd be... But, you know, because it turns out the second set was like 2,000 food. And I was like, holy fuck, I've only ever had like 200. Because I have 40 people.
So I should have been planning that a long time ago.
And so like, I'm glad chat... If chat hadn't told me I needed 2,000 food, I would have been fucked.
You probably wouldn't have finished that scenario.
No,
Now you're
lost.
scaring me from playing it, because I'm not going to stream this. And
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, don't get me wrong. I'm like I said, lately I've been at a point in my life where I want to play a game and enjoy it, but I don't want to like play it for like 500 hours. I want to play it and then kind of like wrap up my time with it, enjoy the experience, and then move on. And if I'm in a scenario where like I'm gonna play this thing and then fucking lose like 2 days from the end and have to redo the, it's kind of frustrating.
I feel like it'd be very overwhelming to play a game like this and then like spend a lot of time and effort working on one scenario and then find out that you made a mistake and then like have to restart it.
If I didn't do a podcast, I probably wouldn't care. I would probably be like, you know what? I'll do Dead Cells, in a couple of months. Let me spend some time with Frostpunk and blah blah. Yeah. But because I have to fucking.
I'm glad you're playing it.
No, and so I started also the third scenario, which I don't have any footage of.
Wait, can I say before you go on to the third scenario?
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever had this effect. Maybe it's because this is a PC game. But, like, I was hearing Chris Davis doing clicks and stuff over there, and it just makes it seem like he got bored of the podcast and started playing a PC game.
I can see it.
It's the first time
Yeah.
I've had that effect.
That is the other weird thing about this, though. Not I said weird, but literally, like all you use is the mouse, and you can.
Yeah.
There's some keyboard shortcuts, but I don't use them. It's almost like pointless.
Yeah.
I do use the space bar because it makes it easy to quickly pause the game
Yeah,
instead of
for sure.
scrolling over to the top left and clicking pause. But yeah, and so like towards the end of it, you're definitely I'll say you start making some more like rash decisions, and also depending on the scenario you're in, like this one, completely different decisions from A New Home. Like I just could just because like I didn't have to worry about like there's no hunters in this one because you don't really need that much food, and you have so much fewer people. Like I mean like I'm talking about like 1/10 of the people I had in the other one, if not less. And so the third one I'm on, which wasn't even out when the game released, and there's a fourth one on the way. They're like coming up with a fourth scenario. The third one is called The Refugees, and it starts out with a small population of people, and it's like, by the way, people are coming, a lot of them. Get ready. And so it's all about like making sure you're prepped for when people show up, making sure you have houses for them, making sure you know you're going to start needing more food, you're going to need like to research certain things, you know, like this one, that generator, I think I powered it up like one time, because I never needed like a bunch of heat. All I needed was to keep the space right around it where I had my 4 houses for people warm, and then I needed the building heaters to be powerful, but I didn't need the generator to be strong. But obviously I know going into this refugee one, since a lot of people are going to show up, I know I'm probably going to need to boost my generator a little bit, probably not as much as the original one when I had like fucking 600 people and like my city was fucking like gigantic.
It seems like that first scenario is very much like trying to like show you a little bit of everything.
You do
to prepare you for
everything
these
in
very
that.
specific
And
challenges.
so,
they
like,
have
I
coming
honestly
after it.
might have preferred it if they did it the other way around. Like, kind of almost like StarCrafty, where it starts you off super fucking simple. Just like, hey, survive for 10 days with like 20 people. You know, just kind of
just
get
layer
it going.
challenges on top of that.
Exactly. But instead, they fucking start you strong. And that's what everyone told me, is you're probably going to fail that first scenario. And I think the reason I didn't was just because I had chat there kind of giving me tips every once in a while. Oh, hey, try doing this. Oh, you know, try doing that, whatever. I can't remember who it was in chat, and I'm sorry, I'm horrible with remembering people, but he was like, dude, build infirmaries. You need at least 3 infirmaries. And I'm so glad I built them, because when that middle of the thing, that this cold front hits, so many of my people fucking got sick and almost died. And if I wouldn't have had those infirmaries, I probably would have lost like 100 people. But yeah, like I'm still enjoying the shit out of this game. It's a lot of fun. I'll probably wrap up this third scenario and then maybe put the game down for a bit until that fourth scenario comes out.
So 3 is the last one they have currently out.
To my knowledge, I don't know if they have like an endless scenario or anything like that, or like it seems like all the ones I've seen some footage of people with like these enormous fucking cities, and I'm like, how did you even fucking get that in like the limited time?
It's weird. It's weird because you have the nuts out there that love playing these types of
like
games,
min-max,
but this one
stuff.
isn't really designed around min-maxing. You know, the themes are sort of at odds with that attitude, and so it's really weird. And you see the community going, you know, when you approach it from a min-maxing perspective, you start to see kind of the flaws of the game.
No,
but
there definitely
it's not really designed for that. You know, it's designed to be more of this experience.
Well, there originally were some like kind of things that people like figured out you could do. Sorry, I was like Butters twitch your feet. Butters' feet are twitching. But like originally there was the concept of hunters, and hunters would go out at nighttime. And what people would do was when they would go out at nighttime, and then when daytime comes, they would take them out of the hunter's hut and put them somewhere else. So you'd almost have people working 24/7, but didn't get like the negative effects from that. But now and I guess on a recent update,
they've made it harder.
Yeah, well, they made people like, oh, now they're resting from a hunt, so they have to rest for X amount of hours.
You can't overwork them,
which
Brad.
logically makes sense. But
it's funny though. Like I'm watching footage of this, and I'm already seeing like, because before when Brad first talked about it, I hadn't played the game that I'm about to talk about. But like, and, you know, like I said, that's Jurassic World Evolution, which is the game I'm going to talk about, is very much the first game I've ever played in this kind of genre. And I'm finally understanding how this game works and seeing the similarities between this. I'm like, fuck, I feel like this genre is getting its hooks in me like hardcore.
But I like the difference in between those two games, because while Jurassic Park is more about creating an island experience, and you want to have this nice thing over here, whereas this is like everything needs to be fucking tight and compact. I don't want my people traveling very far because they'll have to walk through the cold, and every second they're in a cold area, it increases their chance of getting sick or ill or fucking losing a foot. And so it's all about like kind of just making sure you understand the layout of your city and stuff like that. Whereas like
I'm watching you like connect, like I'm assuming you're like building structures and then connecting them to the main power source.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's what I'm fucking doing.
Yeah.
And I'm addicted to it. I'm addicted as shit to this. And I'm wondering if, like, oh man, I talked about it last week where I was like, playing Jurassic World hasn't really given me the itch to go play something like Roller Coaster Tycoon, but maybe it's more of a broader thing where I'm just like, this genre can go in so many directions.
I would recommend this.
This looks interesting,
just because unlike something like, I think I want to say it's shorter, but it's like there's definitely an end to it. Like Roller Coaster Tycoon, you could spend fucking 500 hours building a theme park, whereas in this, it's like there's like 3 or 4 scenarios, and when you're done with them, you're done with them.
Very true.
But yeah, like one of the another thing is like, oh, if you end up doing the snow pit, where it's literally just you build a pit in the ground where you bury all your bodies, you got to make sure you keep that away from heat sources, because if that gets warm, imagine just
stink.
Exactly, or people start to get sick and stuff. So you'll notice there's like a path that leads like all the way out to the middle of nowhere where there's just like a single little thing,
and
that's
just a mass grave.
That's the pit where, and actually in this game only one person died. But it sucked when that happened because there was one guy who wasn't working, and it's because it was saying like transporting like deceased or something like that, and it took him like 8 hours. And I was just like I had time going slow, not fast, and I was just watching him carry the fucking body. He left his job and had to go over where the body is and then pick it up and walk down that long fucking path and I was like, oh my god.
Jesus.
But yeah. Anyway, I'm fucking enjoying this game.
Cool. Maybe I'll look into this because I'm starting to really get a taste for this kind of game.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend too much time talking about Jurassic World. I just wanted to give a quick update. I'm still playing it. I'm approaching. I think I just topped 16 hours in the game, and holy shit, I love this game so fucking much.
I was watching you stream some the other day.
I'm on so like I said last week, there's 5 islands. I'm officially on the 3rd island. I have access to the 4th, which is Isla Nublar.
So a question to interrupt you real quick.
I'm sorry, what?
Isla Nublar? I know you don't care about the Jurassic Park lore, Brad, but like Jurassic Park, the first movie took place in Isla Nublar.
Listen, I'm not talking about caring or not caring. It sounded like you had a stroke or something.
No, Isla Nublar. Sorry. But I'm on the 3rd island, and so kind of
hold
like...
on, Nick, quick question. Is this like similar to how I'm going with like Frostpunk, that it's multiple like scenarios, or is this like you're building a park?
There are multiple scenarios.
Okay, so
like,
you like finish a scenario.
Yeah, and so essentially you're trying to build a different park on each island, but each island has its own set of challenges.
But no, like I'm saying, like when you're done with an island, you don't ever go back to it.
You can
right?
actually.
So that was like kind of my question.
So that is one thing.
Like when you're on Island 2, is Island 1 still jamming and making money?
Yeah.
And doing stuff?
So like the only thing that doesn't happen while as far as I can tell, while you're away from your island you've already worked on, is like things you obviously everything kind of runs smoothly, but like dinosaurs won't start dying because you won't be there to make decisions about which ones to replace them with. But once you go back to that island, I've noticed like I'll go back. I go back to the first island today, and I had like $30 million. So when I left, I had like $5 million or something like that. So it's been cranking out money. But as soon as I got there, like within minutes, like a lot of my dinosaurs started dying of old age. So I had to start making decisions about replacing them, making sure all the feeders were resupplied. But like what's really getting like the second island. Is the challenge they introduced there is the second island is very prone to like tropical storms. So you have to like prepare the island and like make sure you have places to like send guests and stuff.
Like the movie.
Like the movie.
Oh.
The third island.
I appreciate that attention to detail.
Nick, did you make sure you had road signs that didn't spin around to point?
No.
Right?
And the thing is, there's a lot of details and stuff, a lot of things that I haven't unlocked the ability to do yet. And like, I've still only unlocked like 10 dinosaurs, 12 dinosaurs. There's 43.
Yeah.
But like the third island, which is the one I just got to and just kind of started the other day, the challenge there is someone else was already in charge of the island, but they failed. Ooh. So you start in the hole. Like you have all these structures they built, but they ran out of money, and they're in the hole. So you have to like undo a lot of the stuff they did, like build money back up, and then try and make decisions to like turn the park around, and then slowly build it back up from there, which is really addicting. But like all the islands are structured are shaped very differently. So right here you have kind of like this big T intersection, right? So on either end they have these big giant fields where you can put, new paddocks and breed new dinosaurs and stuff. And I'm finally getting to the point where I'm like starting to unlock much bigger dinosaurs, like brontosauruses and stuff, like the big long necks, and I'm almost to the point where I can breed a T-Rex.
Gray leg face man.
Yes.
Pretty sure long necks is a slur.
No.
It's a dinosaur slur.
I just didn't. I know what's gonna happen the moment I start dropping dinosaur names in here.
Isn't that what they called him in The Land Before Time? Though?
Yeah. I have the ability to breed a Diplodocus. Yes, you call them long necks. That's kind of what. Sharp tooths and long necks, and it's cool because like this island is shaped very much like it has these like big giant fields on opposite ends of the island, and I've already kind of decided I'm going to put herbivores on one side, like big herbivores on one side, and big carnivores on the other. What's so funny, Chris?
I know, just like I said, I've been watching a lot of The Mighty Boosh, and the first season of that show takes place in a zoo. And Rich Fulcher plays a character named Bob Fossil, and he doesn't know the names of any of the animals. So I was just imagining him trying to describe dinosaurs. I'm sorry. Completely in my own thing.
It's quite alright.
This game's a lot of fun.
It's so fun. Oh man,
this is another one where like I bet there's min-maxers out there that play this kind of game all the time that like never zoom in on the dinosaurs or whatever to look.
But you kind of
them.
have to.
Or
So
like skip the animations every time.
I'm constantly learning
just
things.
Numbers.
I'm constantly learning things about how this game works. So like I got to this point where I was breeding raptors. I had an enclosure with like 5 or 6 raptors, right?
You never stopped to ask.
They
yourself.
have different meters, right? When you zoom into one dinosaur, it has a meter for population and one for socialism, right? So like
Socialism?
I was about to say
How socialist are your dinosaurs?
Oh my god! But like, the raptors are very
They're communists.
social.
We'll have to put them down.
Their social meters are very high, but their population meter is very low. So I was like, what does that mean? And then I realized I introduced a second breed of dinosaur into the same enclosure with the raptors, and they immediately started fighting. I was like,
yeah,
oh,
why would you
so they're
put
they like a lot of their own kind, but the moment you introduce another breed, they're like, fuck them, and they just start farting. So like they all have their own different
Kinda
meters.
like
They're
humans.
dangerous.
Yeah, and then there's like the Ankylosaurus.
Dude, I fucking love the Ankylosaurus.
I released him into the thing.
Ankylosaurus.
He's so slow and he hates everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, he's got to
just
go.
breaking everyone's ankles.
He's got to go. Like if the moment, like he doesn't even like more of his own. He's like the most you could put maybe one other of his kind in the enclosure. If you do more than that, he starts getting really uncomfortable and starts wanting to break out of the cage.
They
I'm
don't
like,
move in herds.
yeah, they don't. But
They're like
it's
the
cool.
old lady of dinosaurs.
You start to learn the ins and outs of all the dinosaurs, and you start to learn like I'm starting to get into like the mid-maxing of like tweaking the prices at fast food joints to like make sure you're breaking in more money. So like I'm currently selling like burgers for like $23.
God
damn!
damn!
But you just keep.
You're a fucking dick.
But I'm pulling in like thousands of dollars a minute.
Because you're on an island. Where else are they gonna go?
Exactly.
Oh, you fucking
But then
bitch.
you get to this thing where you're like, you unlock new kinds of fences, so like you can electrify them, you can reinforce them. I got the ability to build a monorail, so like you get to like decide how the monorail takes customers from like or visitors from one side of the park to the other. And here is the thing: what I'm
This is the ultimate capitalist hellscape,
sure,
isn't it?
and I'm loving it. I'm fucking loving it.
If I had made a dinosaur park, I think I'd sleep at night charging $23 for a hamburger because I made a dinosaur park.
Okay, what if the burgers were made out of
Dinosaur?
old dead dinosaurs?
Well, that's just smart.
Just to save money.
Yeah.
That's smart.
The one thing I will say though that I'm really I know.
You think a long neck probably has a lot of meat on it?
You'd think, yeah. I'm wondering, like, I built this huge enclosure for them, but I don't even know how big they actually are when you breed them. So I haven't done it yet.
With cows, they say that the meat that's farther away from the hoof is more tender and juicy. Imagine how far away some of that meat is on a brontosaurus.
I like the way you're thinking. I wonder.
It's gonna be so tender and juicy. I want to eat a brontosaurus face.
The last thing I want to say is like I feel like the reason I'm kind of scared of this game is that like. One, I'm getting to the islands, and I know I'm gonna beat the game, like finish it where I've unlocked everything. I want to make sure I unlock all the dinosaurs, but I think I'm gonna keep playing this game until I've doubled back to every single island and made like the perfect, like efficient, likely built, like beautiful park on each island. Because like designing the park is so fun, and like building all the pathways and like making sure you have enough power going to all the different places, and then figuring out which enclosures are going to house which dinosaurs and that kind of stuff.
I'm worried about you, Nick. I'm worried this is not even about Jurassic Park for you anymore, and you're going to be playing like World War II strategy games.
Dude,
time.
That's what I'm saying. Like before I played this, like I thought Frostpunk was cool. I was like, it's not really my kind of game. But now that I've played this and I start to understand what I'm actually watching and like hearing y'all talk about, I'm like, oh fuck, that sounds kind of cool. I've said this a few times. Like this year has been. I feel like it's going to be a pretty good year for me in terms of like getting outside of my comfort zone. Like I played Subnautica. I'm playing this. I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to play Monster Hunter World. Like,
No, you're not. You keep saying that.
watch me,
You're a
bitch.
fucking
Watch
liar.
me. Anyways,
Fucking liar.
that's all I'll say. I'm loving the shit out of this game. I think this is like
Can you-
one of the biggest surprises for
Can
the
you
year for me.
progress in this game? Can you go through your scenarios without breeding carnivore species?
Yeah, you can. Because
So you can
Your park-
choose to not make the same mistake that everybody in
Yeah.
every Jurassic
I
Park
mean,
movie has ever made.
it's going to move at a slower pace because you get paid more money. Like they specifically pay contracts to like, 'cause, like we got a contract for you. They want you to build a carnivore to like improve the morale in the park. But you also get rated on variety. So if you just have a lot of different herbivores and a lot of dinosaurs, if you have a lot of dinosaurs and your variety is really good, it doesn't matter if it's a variety of herbivores and carnivores. And there's a lot. There's like I said, there's 40 plus dinosaurs, and there's a lot of both types. So I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool sim. I'm really enjoying it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Could a Triceratops fuck an Ankylosaurus?
No, they don't. The dinosaurs themselves don't breed. You manufacture them.
Yeah, they can't breed. That's
No,
part
I
of the
mean in
security.
real life.
I don't think so. Have you?
In real life, they're dead.
Well, I'm wondering, like, is that how new weird types of dinosaurs got made?
I don't think Ankylosaurs and Triceratops were even around in the same period.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
Listen, motherfucker,
History.
you know that's not my point.
You're asking if
Can a
natural
Triceratops
selection was
fuck a
thing?
Stegosaurus? Is that what made the Ankylosaurus?
No, one was in the Jurassic, one was in the Cretaceous period. That would never happen. Anyways, we need to take a break, guys. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're gonna go over a few news topics. We're gonna answer some questions
There's
from our
also one
supporters
more
on
game to
Patreon.
talk about.
Yeah, there's another game to talk about.
What did I forget?
You always forget something. Nick.
Whatever. I forgot something. We'll talk about that when we come back. So if you're watching us live on 4pp.tv, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, everybody. We just spent like 30 minutes looking at AMVs during the break and talking about weird random shit.
Why did we
But
do
we're
that?
back and we're ready to focus and talk about video games. Am I right, guys?
Yeah.
I wish we
Maybe.
were watching some AFVs because
Oh my god.
get a good chuckle from the animal videos.
What's an AFV? You know what? Never mind. Oh, America's Funniest Home Video. I can't-
Animal video montages is why you watch that show.
That is true. That is fantastic.
Please
All right,
stand for the national anthem.
we had one more game to talk about. I'm gonna turn it over to Brad and Nolan real quick
Oh yeah.
to talk about it because
Just a little bit.
it's y'all's thing, right?
Well, I've been playing the demo of WarioWare Gold.
I mean,
That
you can
game that
only
you
play
lied
it
to us about weeks ago and said you were going to talk about it and didn't.
You can only play it so much.
Well,
I mean,
you could replay it, I guess,
but I
but,
mean,
it is
a big-
limited. There's only so many mini games,
in the
but
demo at least.
it gives you kind of the vertical slice of, hey, this is kind of what this game is doing, and that's that it's combining all the different WarioWare games into one package, and then giving you challenges where you do. There's not a lot to say about this, so let's roll that beautiful footage. You captured footage. Thank you, Mark.
yeah, I did.
So you have the. Is this the? Okay, so this is the Twist micro games, which in my opinion is probably my favorite WarioWare style. It was originally on the GBA, and there's actually like a gyro sensor, or not just a sensor. It was it had a gyro
cartridge had
effect
that,
where
like,
it would like click and
Yeah.
feel weird in your hands. So I'm glad they brought that back, even though you don't get like the force feedback from the twisting. And then you have from WarioWare Touched, you have the touchscreen stuff, which is probably my least favorite, and then just the button stuff from the original micro games. The button stuff.
Butt stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So and it's all about combining them, because ultimately you combine them all, so you're switching between Thank you.
Prepare to fast forward.
Sorry, the problem is this is a demo, and so after you do every section, you have to watch like a buy this game like thing. Yeah.
There you go.
And then it takes you to the next section. So yeah.
Yeah. So
So this is Brad's least favorite stuff, the touch stuff.
yeah, the touch stuff. It's just because the mini games aren't as exciting, especially here. But that, and I worry about my touch screen.
So that's the one thing, and I've always kind of noticed, like I'm constantly amazed at how resilient like DS touchscreens are. Like it's insane the amount of like, especially with games like this, and then like oh my god, why can I not?
Elite Beat
Agents. Like when you're like, holy
The
shit,
spinner
the amount
stuff.
of the spinning and pressing and quick things, and like the DS, like it's fine. You wipe the screen off and it looks brand new almost. And so I'm always amazed. And yeah, one of the things in this one is like there's a fucking this toilet paper roll one.
Yeah,
oh my god, you have to go so fast.
Oh yeah,
I feel like I'm gonna like
when it
stab
gets
through my
hard,
DS.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean they're fun, and like I don't later on in the footage I'll get to it. But like the third section it's a combination of all three. It's touch stuff, it's button mashing and rotating, and it gets intense.
It sucks because you're kind of holding your stylus, and I think they want. I mean, you could use your finger,
Yeah, you
but
can.
you're not going to be as successful
Exactly.
like unrolling the toilet paper wheel. So you're kind of like twisting.
Well,
while
the problem is like certain ones you have to be very accurate, like cutting the wires. I'm not going to do that with my fat fucking finger. Like
Yeah.
you got to be so precise.
Yeah, because I've cut. The
Oh yeah, I've cut the wrong one on accident
Yeah.
before. But yeah, and so I mean, it's like, and Chris Davis can probably attest to this. Like, while it's not like a game that I'm like itching to play, like, oh, I can't wait to play it. While I'm playing it, I get fucking like fevered, and I'm like, oh god, like it's intense.
They're really fun, and there's always like a shit ton to unlock too,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll eventually unlock like mini games and stuff, and that might not seem like much, but a mini game is bigger and more expansive than
Yeah.
a micro game. It's where they kind of they're actual, almost like real games that you can play
Yeah.
like over and over, and it's pretty fun.
Mhm.
I don't know. This comes out next week, and I'm definitely gonna be getting it because this feels like the culmination of all the WarioWare games into one. And one thing that is weird is that it's fully voice acted, so you're hearing like Charles
yeah.
Martinet like fully.
So there's
voicing
actually a story to
Wario.
this game.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the thing though? It's like Wario's like, oh, he finds out you can make money by like making games, and so he like hires like a bunch of people. It's like, oh, you can pay an entry fee, and like the winner gets all this money, and he's like, I'm gonna make so much money. And, like,
Yeah, that's his MO, and like all of them, he's just making the shittiest games to like make
Yeah.
money.
yeah.
Is Waluigi in this game?
I don't know.
Not
I
as of
haven't
yet.
seen him.
Yeah, at least not in the demo.
Will he
at
be
least.
snubbed twice in the
So I
same
mean,
year?
so Waluigi, I don't think he's ever been in any of the Wario games, has he? It's all like Wario's friends. Like there's,
I think it's he's only ever been in the sports games.
yeah, like there's like he has
In
Wario
Mario
actually has like a
Party.
set of friends.
He's
that,
only around when they need to round out a roster.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I did enjoy my time with this. With these mini games and stuff like that, like Brad was saying, like the three different types, the touch ones, and then I will, I guess, agree to an extent that in my order of preference is the tilt, the tap, and then the touch.
Yeah.
And how much I enjoy them. The tilt ones can get kind of crazy, especially when you're trying to capture footage, because I have like wires coming out of my 3DS, and I'm trying to fucking like shake it really fast and do stuff. And so
That
that
just seems
can get
humorous.
kind of intense.
There's only so many here, but the final games has like 300 micro games.
Yeah.
And they have different characters and stuff with different theming.
Yeah, and
for
so
like this stuff between
and
the
that's
micro
like
games.
previous Wario games have been the same. Like, yeah, the different areas have different styles of the actual.
This is still gonna have all that stuff too.
yeah,
So this is coming to 3DS,
3DS.
and Switch?
No, just
Or
3DS.
just 3DS. Yeah.
Just 3DS because
But it showed the Switch on the screen a minute ago.
Well, no, but that's because it's
That's just a
Nintendo. They're just
micro
showing
game,
it. In
yeah.
previous Wario games, they've showed like GameCubes and stuff like that.
Oh,
It's just mainly
weird.
just because they need a bunch of shit to fill out the game, like different
Gotcha.
things and different mini games and whatnot.
they do have another style of micro game too in the final version. They have one that revolves around blowing on the microphone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've seen them do stuff like that in previous Wario games where you like get involved. They're like oh, yell at the screen or something like that. But yeah, this is footage of all three. You can see at the top it'll tell you like, oh, and I fucking jumped the gun there.
I kind of
but
don't like how they tell you right before it starts.
they don't
but-
tell you quick enough. Like honestly, like it takes so much time between Like, as soon as this is over, like, right here, they should tell you the next one. But they don't. They take some time, and then they tell you.
Yeah.
They should immediately show, like, what the next one's going to be, because you have to prep. Like, I'm holding my stylus, and, like, I got to do this weird claw kind of maneuver where I got to get ready to see if I need to be tapping the button or I need to tilt or whatever. So, yeah.
The tilting stuff doesn't have much of an effect when you're just capturing footage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so, yeah, that is the problem.
Yeah, because you're not...
Yeah.
I like how the unlocking, I guess... are like text adventures, kind of. It's,
yeah,
because
I do one later on where it's like, oh yeah, to defeat this dragon, type left on the D-pad 7 times, then press A.
Yeah.
Is anybody gonna stream this game? Because this is,
well,
I know this is a very physical game, so it's kind of like the fun of it's hard to like.
You would do like a picture-in-picture showing you.
Yeah, for sure.
You can do that, but like I said, like when I was playing it, I was getting very excitable. Like personally, like I was getting like, oh god, like oh watch out, like oh my god, like what the fuck?
This is a very simple. Like this demo doesn't even represent. I don't think what the final game's like, because typically you come across boss stages that are more. This just seems like an endless mode of just a few of the micro games. Like this one, you come out of the box.
Oh my god,
that's a tilting one.
Yeah, what the fuck? You just pooped.
Yeah.
You just saw poop.
So yeah, not much to say. I'll be playing it when it comes out.
That person doesn't have a stomach.
Yeah, I'm debating on if I want to get it or not. I mean, I feel like I did enjoy my time with it,
right.
And I guess like Brad was saying, I don't think this is a complete representation of what the final game is actually going to be. So we'll see. I mean, how much is this going to be? $30 or 40?
I don't know. I'm gonna game play it.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. You can do that. I don't have game play. I don't know, but yeah, like I said, I did enjoy my time with the demo. It does get me very excited.
Cool. Well, I'm sure we'll hear more about it when the final game releases very soon. Are y'all ready for news?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. There's not a whole lot this week, so we're going to get through only 2 quick news stories. One of which I think maybe the more impactful news story first comes from we recently spoke, or Brad recently spoke to us about Onrush, right?
Yep.
Just a few short weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
You were telling me how cool and how dope that game was.
Yeah, this is sad news.
Codemasters has gutted that studio and laid off a large portion of the staff, including the director of the game.
Oh, my God. Whose name is Rushy? Or nickname is Rushy?
Is it? I don't know.
So it's kind of a shame because...
Does that mean that they're just like completely done supporting it?
No. Actually, they said support's going to continue, whatever that means. But that probably means they're dramatically going to decrease what support means. That's usually the case. But yeah, it's such a bummer. Because Onrush, well, obviously it was that MotorStorm team. And, you know, they did Drive Club, and that didn't really work out. And Sony shut them down. And they're like, oh, no, but we're still going to, start this new studio. It's all of us. And we're going to put out a game that's kind of like MotorStorm, but it's like this big, huge twist on the genre. We're doing some weird, crazy shit, and it was really cool. But apparently, it's kind of inevitable. I knew this thing wasn't going to be like this huge success, but it's just sad to hear about the layoffs so soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that Codemasters was pretty, flippant, too, about the whole thing. They were like, oh, it's perfectly normal for a company to just lay off everybody right after.
I mean, it's pretty normal for the gaming industry. I think it is just
I don't know.
It still sucks though, and if they're being flippant about it, it's still kind of
they're still
it may be normal,
they're
but
putting
come on,
people
don't
out
act
of
like
a job,
don't make it sound like it's totally cool,
or that I mean I don't know, I mean people it's tough to say because studios close all the time.
It happens.
People get laid off all the time in this industry for sure, but I mean, I don't know.
It sucks to see it when it's after a company
done something cool and to act like oh, we're just launching a game and everything's fine and you people are all fired and everything's fine,
I mean, but still to an extent that happens on a regular basis. I mean,
does, but
as soon as the game launches, they don't
of
need people anymore. They only need a smaller subset if they don't plan on making anything big next, or they're going to take some time to do something else. I mean, it happens just because it's hey,
they lay off extra people they hire on for. They don't just gut studios.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, it's kind of especially when they do a firing
we're
this,
kind of a little numb to
it undercuts it immediately tells people oh, so don't expect anything else from this series. This isn't happening anymore.
And honestly, that was always one of my when I first started getting into software development, I kind of wanted to get into the gaming industry, but then the more I learned about it, the more I'm like,
It's just having to
not
constantly
stable.
worry about like
if Naughty Dog were to call me up and be like, "You want to work for us?" I'd be like, "Oh, hey, Naughty Dog." But I mean, you know what I'm saying? For the most part, like any smaller studio, like I'd just be too worried that the job.
But even
wouldn't
big
be stable.
studios aren't immune to
No,
this shit.
I know.
So it's just like once you've done one thing, it's you know it's all cyclical. Like everybody's just kind of like, oh, they see a bunch of people get laid off, and then the other studios are like, hey, come to us.
Yeah.
And then they do a project, and then they get
But the
laid off
problem with that
again, and
is,
then do the whole
It's
thing
cool
again.
if you're good with moving around the country a lot.
Yeah.
But when you
Yeah.
want to kind of stay in one place,
When you wanna
It's
put
not-
roots down.
It's
You're a
still
little
not
more-
like a great culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. But anyways, yeah, that's unfortunate. Hopefully, obviously, best wishes to everybody who was laid off, and I'm sure they'll find their footing and do something else cool. The other news this week is actually the actual news topic is that Guacamelee 2 got a release date, but of course Brad's been having a bit of an aneurysm about this whole thing in August, so I figured I'd just tie it into August becoming kind of a Metroidvania themed month. Because everything
It's really kind of obnoxious.
like we planned 1998 month thinking that August was pretty clear, right?
It was.
It was.
clear.
It was
was.
at the time.
Clear.
Yeah, and now there are 4 high-profile Metroidvanias, which we all, as a genre, we all love and appreciate, coming out in the month of August. So, but the news here is that Guacamelee 2 is coming out August 21st.
At least it's towards the end of the month.
That's true. I love Guacamelee. Guacamelee
I think all of us
1.
did.
Yeah, it was.
That was my game of the year.
It was my second favorite game of the year that year. I love that game to death. I'm so excited for this game. It kind of sucks. It is happening right in the middle of what we're doing in August, but we'll still be playing these things, and we'll talk about them in whatever month comes after August. September.
Yeah.
Had a little brain fart
Let's
there.
just let the first podcast of September be like 8 hours long.
Well, that's why I said maybe we do some 4-player pluses and we can talk about some of these things. But yeah, so we have Chasm coming out at the very, very, very tail end of July, early August. Dead Cells coming out, the final version of that, which is getting really good.
Like in a week or something.
Yeah, and Crispy's been playing some of that.
I have been, and here's what I think about it. Oh, I can't.
You can just, if you want to say
can't.
you're enjoying it, right?
You can't actually say
I
that.
can't say
because
No,
if,
I can't. I
if
can't
he doesn't
say
answer that, then that means
no.
he's not enjoying
I can't
it.
say it in any sort of like final. This is my final opinion of the game way.
Yeah.
But so far, happy face.
Okay. Cool. We'll talk about it more next week after the embargo is lifted.
Like
How about
pretty
that?
big happy face.
Cool. We'll talk about that with you next week. Because wait, never mind. Next week,
Nope, that's
Nope.
August.
4-player plus, baby. Let's.
Let me
Stick some
ask you.
episodes
Let me just kind of get a feel of the room here.
Feel me, bro.
If we did cancel 1998,
I
month
hate you.
right now. How okay?
We are
would
not
chat
doing that
be?
because you do not know how long it took me to do that calendar.
I mean, that's silly. I mean,
We're not doing
it's a nice calendar, but
Yeah, let's
I
do
have to
it.
make that trailer.
Let's
Yes.
cancel 98.
We're not canceling 1990. Just think about 1998.
what if we just pushed it back till next year?
Because no, it's not happening, Brad. It's not happening. We'll talk. We'll find ways. We'll find outlets and ways to talk about these things in August. But we have Chasm, we have Dead Cells, we have Death's Gambit, and we have Guacamelee 2 all confirmed for release in August. Holy fucking shit!
It's a lot.
What if September sucks?
No,
But it doesn't. There's a
it
lot
doesn't.
Of
There's a
stuff
lot of stuff
September.
coming out in
Why
September.
don't they spread this shit out? I feel bad for Chasm. You know what? Let's move on.
Let's move on.
I'm gonna talk about it in my.
Let's move on to the next segment of the show. It's time for questions. It's time for our supporters, our beloved supporters on Patreon, to ask us questions. Nolan, take it away.
What's up, Nick? You want me to ask the questions from our Patreon supporters?
I do, yeah.
Okay, I guess I can do that. All right, so first question this week comes from Cobra.
Cobra.
I asked this in Discord and Brad answered it already, but I'd like to get everyone else's opinions on it. Does playing a newer remaster or remake of a game made in 1998 still count, or is its original version only? The example I used in Discord was the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time.
Here's what I'll say. I'm pretty sure Brad said the same thing. If it is a direct recreation of what came out in '98, it's fair game. If it is a, say it's like he said, the 3DS version of Ocarina. That's not the version I'm going to be streaming.
Yeah.
But if it would be eligible.
It's
if-
case by case, but
If it
generally-
was so I'm going to be playing the rare replay collection version of Banjo-Kazooie. But if it was like, let's just say if it was like Resident Evil Remake versus Resident Evil 1, that would not count because that is a complete recreation of the game. It's totally different. Not to mention,
if it
is
looks
dramatically
like
changed.
a different generation, you know,
Yeah.
obviously PC stuff, there's an exception to emulators. You know, you can make that stuff look a lot nicer, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Remake does not look like a PS1 game.
exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of goes against the spirit of the month.
We definitely want to give it we definitely want on our streams to give this feeling of like.
I mean,
nostalgia.
we're all going to be streaming in 360p, pointing our webcams at the TV. It's gonna be...
Don't know if we're gonna go that far.
Yes, sir.
Carlos will.
But hopefully that answers your question.
All right, moving on. Next question from Nexus. Who is your personal mascot for gaming in 1998? I.e. Gordon Freeman, Pikachu, Spyro, etc.
Like personally,
Personal
like
mascot.
I mean, I didn't really have one. I mean, mainly just because
I'm trying to remember which games I actually played
like Banjo-Kazooie
in the
maybe.
year.
That was like a big game for me. That was still back. That was still a time for me where I owned maybe like 4 games. That's like all I owned.
And you also
So,
got to
man,
consider like some characters just aren't. I wouldn't call them mascot material, right? You know, like I would like to be honest. The game that I probably played the most of. Sorry. I mean, Ocarina of Time is. I played that the year it came out. It's one of my favorite games ever. So you know, for me, 1998 would probably be Link or Zelda from Ocarina of Time. But if I was to exclude that very obvious answer, like the game I probably played the most of outside of Ocarina of Time in 1998 was Tenchu Stealth Assassins. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you Rikimaru was like my fucking mascot of 1998, because I don't really think of him as like a mascot character. But that game is definitely one of my closest associations to the year.
I'm gonna go with Tomba. No, Bruce Willis. The PlayStation 1 game Apocalypse.
What?
Bruce Willis was in that?
Yes.
Wow.
Bruce fucking Willis.
Interesting.
He was my mascot, mascot platformer, my platformer mascot of 1998.
Anybody else?
That's all I have.
Platformer? Does it have to be a
No,
platformer?
not be a
No,
platformer. Just like a character
for
that,
me, it would be Sarah Kerrigan.
from what?
Starcraft.
Okay, StarCraft.
Ah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, because I started playing StarCraft when Brood War came out, which it came out towards the end of.
StarCraft 1 and Brood War came out in the same year,
Yeah.
both 1998.
Yeah.
Ed's going to be playing both of those.
Yeah, and I was really into StarCraft at
Cool.
the end of the 90s.
Cool.
All right, moving on. Next question from SMG Sterling. Did anyone have any defining life moments in 1998? If not, what did you remember most about 98 aside from video games?
A defining life moment for me in 1998 was getting Ocarina of Time.
For me, it's 2 things. So that's when I got my N64.
Mm-hmm.
I actually didn't. I got it. It's that one sitting right there. That's kind of.
Oh, wait, that reminds me.
It was the Diddy Kong Racing bundle that came with the green N64,
Nice.
and that was my first console besides my Super Nintendo. So my second console I ever got. And the other thing is 1998 is when I started going to Browser's Game Center, which was like a gaming. What would you call that? Like they just had a bunch of computers. Like
Oh yeah,
Internet cafe.
like,
Or,
it's not an internet cafe though. They're like.
It's like the closest equivalent.
First of all,
out
there
here,
wasn't
though.
any internet on the computers. There was all LAN.
Yeah.
I forget. I can't think of the
Yeah, whatever.
term.
I
LAN
guess
center,
a
yeah.
LAN center. I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I would pay. It was like $2 an hour or like $4 for like 3 hours or something.
Yeah.
And I would play StarCraft in the Unreal Tournament, and that was like the fucking because I didn't have a computer. But that was like some of the most fun times I had with some of my friends.
I'll piggyback off that. 1998 was the year I convinced my parents to let me get a PlayStation 1 so I could play Resident Evil 2, and I still remember the look on my dad's face because he watched me boot up Resident Evil 2 and start playing it, and in like the first alleyway you get to behind the gun shop, there's these zombies that come walking up to you. I had the shotgun, and I blew the zombie in half, and the zombie comes like crawling towards you, and my dad was like, "I've made a mistake."
I feel like 1998 was the year I started like buying all my video games on my own.
Oh wow.
You know, because I got a job and I was like, I'm just gonna buy Final Fantasy Tactics. No, I wasn't in college, but
Did it hurt to take some
I
money
was
out of your
driving.
401k?
I was driving, and I would drive to the used game store I used to go to was Game Force, like the used mom and pop one that I used to go to. Of course, I'd go to like Funkoland and stuff, but
Yeah, all about Funkoland.
but Game Force.
I remember. So the cartridge that I brought out the other week, when I first got A Link to the Past, I got it at Funkoland, and I remember that was the first Zelda I ever played. My mom took me to Funkoland. She's like, "Nolan, you get one game today, whatever you want." And I was like asking the guy who worked there, I'm like, "Oh, I have a Super Nintendo. What's a good game?" He's like, "This Zelda game's pretty good." And I was like, "What's that?" And so he's like, "You can try it out." And he popped it in the thing for me to play. And I remember there was one save file on there and it was Jeff was the name of the person, and they had
do you remember
5 hearts, dude. Brad, that's when I got introduced to the fucking Link to the Past. Are you kidding me? That's why I remember that moment. I remember it was Jeff in all caps. He had 5 hearts, and like there was like one little icon. I forget what the icon was, but I like fucking to this day I remember that moment being introduced to
Funny how
Legend of
those
Zelda:
things
Link to the Past.
stick in your mind.
Thanks, Jeff.
But yeah, anyway, move on. Next question from Mr. Green Toast. It's Fuck, Marry, Kill 1998 edition.
Oh, I already know the answer to this one.
Sarah Michelle Gellar,
Mary.
Cameron Diaz. So it
thought
does,
they
it
were
does
gonna be
specify.
video
It does
game ladies.
specify Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Cameron Diaz. There's something about Mary and Denise Richards' Wild Things.
Fuck Denise Richards' Wild Things. Marry Sarah Michelle Gellar. Buffy. I guess kill Cameron Diaz.
Kill Cameron Diaz.
I mean, not that I want
What?
to, but like, those. That's the only
I
way. I don't dislike any of those options. I wouldn't want to kill any of them. I mean, I don't want to kill anybody,
Cameron
but
Diaz,
you know what I mean.
Kill Denise Richards and fuck Sarah Michelle.
Sarah Michelle Gellar is like my first like celebrity crush ever, and it's lasted till this day. So I would have to marry her. Totally, totes.
As usual, I'd fuck all.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'd marry all of them, Mormon style.
So less more men and more women.
Oh my god. Krispy?
More women.
Yeah, I think I largely agree with yours. Around that time would have been when I first saw Starship Troopers.
Ooh,
Mm.
yup.
Which,
Don't get me wrong.
Well, what's her face?
Denise Richards.
Denise Richards. For me, like
Man.
it's all about Cameron Diaz and The Mask.
Dude, you know, yeah,
That's
no,
what it's all
she's
about.
amazing in The Mask. You know what? I'll say this too. I always think
Amazing.
about Denise Richards. I think everyone talks about Denise. Like, I don't even remember what the fuck Wild Things is about. I don't even care. But at the time, I think this was in a post Scream world. I loved Scream, and I had a huge crush on Nev Campbell as well. And there is a scene, obviously, in Wild Things where Denise Richards makes out with Nev Campbell.
That's the
and
only
that was
scene
like,
anyone remembers from that movie.
that was like one. At that age, was like, well, I'm gonna watch this like 10 times.
I think that movie's a bit of a cult classic, though.
Really?
It's all, but also there was also Cruel Intentions with Sarah Michelle Gellar where she makes out with Selma Blair. So
Yep.
like that was
Not as good.
not as good. I mean, well, Denise Richards takes off her. Never mind. Let's just move on.
Takes off her shoes.
Top.
She like drives a convertible.
Yes.
What are we even talking about?
We're
Next
talking
question
about.
from
I kill all
Chai.
of
I'd
them.
marry all of them. How's that? Can I do
Next
that?
question- it's technically not illegal.
Her top
or not
shoes.
legal, rather. Next question from Chai. Please read this one in advance.
I
There's
did,
homework.
and I did the research, and I have a shit ton. I have a big.
Chai
long
did
list.
mention it to everyone. I don't know if everyone actually did the homework though. He
didn't
mentioned it
mention
in
it to me.
Discord. What are some of your favorite songs released in 1998?
I have a big
I don't
list.
fucking yeah.
I have a big list.
Already am mine on Nick's list?
I have some too.
So I mean, first of all,
My heart
I'm gonna
will
be
go on.
I'm gonna be honest. I did this. I just found like the biggest list I could find online of like hits that came out in 1998, and then I kind of, if there was like an album that I actually listened to, I'd like go through the album. But like, so a lot of these were just like songs that charted. Let's see.
So I had some. Go
for it.
Just, Intergalactic.
Aerosmith, Don't Want to Miss a Thing.
Intergalactic Beastie Boys.
That's a good one.
Fucking great song. Closing Time, Semisonic. Still one of my favorite songs. I fucking
Guys,
love that song.
my
It
aunt-
must be like retroactive.
Miami
I'm
by
pretty sure I wasn't listening to Neutral Milk Hotel, but In the Airplane Over the Sea is really good album.
Will Smith's Miami came out in 1998.
Really?
Shit.
My personal favorite song. And here's the thing: I don't know if this counts because I didn't hear the song for the first time in 1998, but
highly
it came
doubt I
out
heard
in
any of
'98.
these.
Let me look at Pitchfork's top 50 of that year.
Deftones, "My Own Summer." That song is fucking amazing. It still makes me fucking just
Sucks.
still makes my blood pump to this day when I hear that song.
My favorite album of all time came out in 1999.
Which
Doesn't count then.
which album though? Like,
No, that doesn't count. He
You don't
can't
want me
say.
to
He can't say.
Doesn't count. 1999 didn't exist in 1998, Chris.
I guess that's true.
That's
Wait,
math.
I want to answer this
That's
question.
true, but a lot of the inspirations for the album did exist.
What about Casey and JoJo? All My Life.
No.
No.
What Bjork album came out in 98?
Jesus Christ.
Lenny
Post
Kravitz,
was-
"Fly Away" came out in 1998.
I guess so.
Wait, did you say that I Don't Want to Close My Eyes, the Aerosmith?
Yes.
Yeah, that
was
it came out.
98?
That was
Yeah,
98.
no, Don't Want to Miss a Thing.
Don't want to miss
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah,
Which
came
that
out with
was
Armageddon.
That was Armageddon.
Yeah. Which I will
Well,
say,
shit.
that song is amazing in Saints Row 4.
That is definitely
is true.
the best song of any of the songs that came out.
Marilyn Manson's "The Dope Show" came out in 1998. I do like that song.
All right.
Harvey Danger, "Flagpole Sitta."
I guess so.
Flagpole Syndicate?
Yeah. And of
The
course,
theme song
and
to
of
Peep
course,
Show?
Elliott Smith's XO came out in 98.
and of course, don't forget the ultimate song of 1998, "In Sync," "Tearing Up My Heart."
Well, it's number
See,
2.
Pretty Fly for a White Guy came out in 98, but the next year, my favorite album, Weird Al Yankovic's Running with Scissors, came out, and he had All About the Pentiums, which was a fucking banger. That's what I'm
Nice reference. I hope that's a satisfactory answer for you, Chai. I did do my research, so there you go.
Sorry, I didn't
All right.
see the question.
Moving on. Next question from one Mr. Boy. Coming off the heels of summer games done quick, if you had to choose a game to start speedrunning competitively, what game do you currently feel the most well-equipped to tackle?
First of all, I would never do this because I never play games with the intention of going fast. With that said, the one I'd probably feel most comfortable with, obviously, is Ocarina of Time, because that's I've still probably the game I've played the most times repetitively in my life. But I'm still probably incapable of doing it at a fast enough speed.
That's a tough question.
That's a very competitive one. I would do one that isn't like super popular, but I really love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I feel like something like I feel like it'd be cool like with this doesn't have to be 1998, right? This can just be anything.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Breath of the Wild would be a fun one just because it is so systems driven and like everything is so experimental in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get from the starting point to Ganon to beat him just in and of itself as quickly as possible would probably be pretty fun.
But
I know that
kind
happens.
Of, honestly, kind of easy to do, but I mean,
once you get good enough, once you're good enough at the game, yeah, sure.
maybe the original Metal Gear Solid.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Anything, Crispy? Dude, watching some of those Morrowind speed runs back is crazy.
I'm gonna be honest. I've never watched a speedrun.
Speedrunning is like really antithetical to how I enjoy video games. But if I had to pick something,
It's hypothetical.
Rocket League.
I would do like probably one of the like big classic ones, just because there's enough of a community. Like Super Metroid, I think would be a great one.
Yeah.
To get into.
Cool. Moving on. Next question from
Cool.
Tyler. What were your go-to sources for video game information back in 1998?
EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly.
EGM was a good
Probably.
one.
I did
Nintendo
have
Power.
In 98?
Mm-hmm.
These are good questions, but these are the ones I hope we get next month from you guys. So
From
keep them
98.
coming.
Yeah.
Was GamePro? Was that it?
98 is when
GamePro?
I started getting like OPM magazine.
Oh, no, for me,
That came with the demo discs.
Oh yeah. Okay. So
Dude, I would go to like my fucking Kroger.
Not OPM,
And every
PlayStation magazine.
every time like my mom took me to the store, I would always go to the magazine aisle and look for the magazines that had the demo discs. And like, Mom, I need
Official
this.
PlayStation
I need
yeah,
this.
magazine.
for me, it'd be-
Issue number 1. That Ghost in the Shell cover.
oh yeah,
Nintendo Power was another big one for me.
Nintendo Power, EGM, and
I had
PlayStation
Nintendo
Magazine,
Power.
probably the three that
Look up that official PlayStation magazine issue number 1 cover. Ghost in the Shell, baby.
All right, let's move on. Final question from the
Post the
evening.
link. Post the link.
Jerose asks, "What's the most embarrassing thing you've done in 1998?"
Oh man, I don't fucking.
I'm glad you're asking
fucking
98
remember.
questions. Hopefully y'all ask them next month too.
I also feel like, but they're just like, what would I'm just going to ask a question and then add in 1998 to the
Yeah,
end of it.
I literally don't remember.
I can't remember.
The most embarrassing thing.
I can't remember what I did in 1998 at all.
Yeah.
I wasn't even in high school yet.
I was in an awkward stage of my life, I suppose, in school, so I could imagine doing some really awkward shit, but embarrassing shit, but I can't.
I don't think. I mean, 98.
Dude, I can't. I was 10 years old. I can't remember what I did when I was 20 years old.
I was 12. I have no idea.
I think around that time was when we had a. Oh shit! What was that called? Not like an Olympics. Like my school had like a field day.
Oh yeah, track and field day.
Yeah, field day. And I was running the hurdles, and caught my foot on the first hurdle and fucking slammed my face into the ground. So that's something I definitely remember.
Wait, you guys had like a field day where you just go
Isn't that the
do
day-
track and field shit?
Isn't that the day where they would bring the big
No, we just did that during gym. Like mine was like there was like
They would all-
fucking like sprints, and you did like I said hurdles, and you would do
man.
like long jumps. It was like kind of like a mini Olympics.
What kind of fancy school
Dude,
did you go to?
at-
I had to wait for track and field day to do the big balloon thingy,
At
or not
my,
balloon.
the parachute?
parachute
The
thing.
parachute's fucking amazing. But in my elementary school, we didn't do a field day. We had what we called wet field day. And it was all like there was a giant hill on the side of our school, and they just like cover it in plastic and soapy water. Like everyone would like do a big slip and slide. We'd have like water gun fights. We had like balloon fights.
How old were you?
I was 10.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I was
15, 16 would have been a better age.
I don't know, but like, yeah, they used to. It was all like, and then like at the end of the whole thing, like everyone would just like sit outside the school and like we'd eat popsicles and stuff like that. It was fucking crazy, and that was the best part of every school year. Can't remember anything embarrassing I did, but that's a little slice of my childhood for
I
you.
fell off a playscape once. Like, it's weird. I don't even know how I did it, but like like, I was on like the elevated part of the playscape, right, and they had the pole, the pole that slides down, right, and I fell backwards and I hit the pole. And then I slid down the pole all the way to the ground, but I like bent upwards like this, and like it hurt like a bitch. But I did it in front of a bunch of people, and that hurt. That was kind of a problem. That was probably, but that wasn't in 1998. That was earlier than that.
I still got it.
Oh damn!
What?
So
The Ghost in the Shell cover from issue 1.
But wasn't that
U.S.
game?
PlayStation Magazine.
Wasn't that game like
Anyway, that's
No,
all the.
absolutely fucking not.
I can't remember.
That's all the questions from all our patrons this week. Appreciate all the patrons who ask us questions. Once again, every week we post a thread on patreon.com/4player where you can ask us any questions you want as long as you are a patron who donates $1 or more.
Yes, $1
To answer your
more,
question,
guys.
Nick, Ghost in the Shell on PlayStation was actually a really cool. I guess it's sort of a mech game. She's in her. Yeah, and her little robot suit thing, and it's made by Exact, which was the developers of Jumping Flash 1 and 2, and you can actually see a lot of Jumping Flash's DNA in the way that her little
Did that game
mech
come
suit.
out in 1998?
It did in Europe.
All right.
It counts.
It is time to wrap this show up, guys. 4-player minute. You know how it works. Hype, sweat, thank you, and fuck you of the week. Brad,
Yes.
go.
My 4-player minute is Metroid month themed, which is the real theme for next month for most of y'all. My hype, I'm going to give it to Guacamelee 2. It was my game of the year that year, and it beat out a lot of games I truly, really did love, but I really love Guacamelee. It's one of the first Metroidvanias that I consider to be up with the greats. And I can't wait to play the second one. The trailers look really good. My sweat for Metroidvania month is Death's Gambit, and that's because this is the most unproven one. I feel like it's the one we've seen the least of, the one that maybe hasn't had demos everywhere
That's
at
the
PAX
Adult
and
Swim
stuff.
one.
It's the adult, but Adult Swim publishes a lot of good shit.
No, for
but I feel like this is the one that can either easily be like the worst or the best. You know what I mean? I feel like it might be the more ambitious of the four in some ways because it's like a Souls-like, and I think you can ride a horse. But
That's fucking cool.
it's the one. It's the one I'm worried about the most. It could be terrible. It could be the next
What if
Slain.
they're-
Remember Slain?
Dude, what if they're all good?
I think that's the most likely. My fuck you is going to go to everybody who ignores Chasm because there might be some more higher profile Metroidvanias coming out that month. Because I think Chasm
thought
it's
Chasm
been in
was
development for like 6 years.
But I thought
or
that was
some
like
shit.
highly anticipated.
No, it was back when it was announced,
And
but
then the
now
hype died.
it's been so fucking long. There's no hype for it anymore. And there's these other games like Dead Cells and Guacamelee that are, more proven and
Sure.
most likely going to sell a lot more.
Fair enough.
Dead Cells has been out. Guacamelee has a previous game that was really successful, and Death's Gambit is kind of a Souls-like with the cool art style. I think Chasm is, in terms of hype, is probably in last place, and so fuck you if you don't give that a fair shot, unless it sucks, but it probably won't suck. And my thank you, I'm going to give it to Dead Cells. My thank you for the Metroidvania month goes to Dead Cells because, from what I hear, is they finally have a whip that doesn't suck. So many games that purport to be like inspired by Castlevania games, like a lot of these are, have garbage fucking whips, including Bloodstained. Ritual of the Night has a garbage whip, but I hear the whip in Dead Cells is really fucking good. So if that's true, thank you, Dead Cells, for finally doing the whip giving the justice it deserves.
Maybe whips just aren't a good idea for
Shut up.
Nolan.
Sorry, I was just trying to look at my my Humble Bundle. I think I remember getting Chasm on Humble Bundle. It says thanks for pre-ordering Chasm. When the files are released, you'll be able to download them right here.
That's today.
May 11th, 2015.
Damn.
Wait. Are you a backer on Chasm?
I think so.
If you're a backer on Chasm, you could play it now.
I don't think I backed it through Kickstarter.
See,
I think I got it through Humble Bundle.
I didn't back it, but I think I could play it and maybe even stream it tomorrow if I was a backer for my stream. But I don't.
We'll talk about that.
Can you
after
be like
the
a Slacker
recording.
backer?
I don't know. I need to find out. Anyway, so my 4-player minute starts now. My hype is obviously for 1998 month. I'm definitely excited for the at least 2 games I'm playing. Like I said, I do want to focus less on playing as many 1998 games as I can, and more about actually these are 2 games that have been on my backlog for a really long time, and this is like the perfect opportunity to actually fucking get some time spent with them. So yeah, I'm excited for that. My sweat is for No Man's Sky. I kind of want to play that game. I've always wanted to play it. It's just more of early on I just had doubts of the quality time I would have spent with it. But now that it actually looks like there's some meat on them bones, I want to do it. Side note, I had to actually get confirmation from Krispy before the stream because I honestly thought No Man's Sky Next was like a different game. Yeah. I did not realize it was just an update to No Man's Sky. It was like a Wii U situation going on. I thought it was like something completely different.
Gotcha.
So kind of not the best job on their marketing.
Even though Wii U was something completely different.
Well, I know, but like a lot of people thought it was just an update to the Wii.
It was the exact opposite of the Wii U.
Yeah. But that's what I thought. I thought it was. But anyway, my thank you is going to go to chat. I don't remember everyone's names because I have probably one of the worst memories in the world. But for all the people who were helping out when I was playing Frostpunk, giving me tips, and some people Googled some things for me.
It's funny. He says he has the worst memory in the world, but he remembers Jeff had 5 hearts.
Link to the past. Yeah, that's true. I wonder if that cartridge still has his save file on there. I should look at that sometime.
It's amazing what sticks with us from childhood.
Right? And then my fuck you is going to go to Frostpunk. Just because, literally, not every night this week, but multiple nights throughout this week, I'll be like, all right, let me play real quick for a few minutes, and all of a sudden it's like 12:30, or last night it was like past 1 o'clock, and I just didn't fucking realize the time.
Those games are so hard to stop.
Yeah, there's never like a moment, like an Uncharted game, you get through like a battle with a bunch of dudes, and all of a sudden it slows down and the pacing changes, and that's kind of like the time that you would maybe, okay, I'll stop now. But this, it just keeps going. And so it's kind of a fuck you to the game / to myself. I really should just fucking set an alarm on my phone that's like 11:30. Probably stop playing the game.
Dude, I literally have an alarm on my phone at 11:30 for time to go to bed.
I
ignored it for an hour and a half on Monday.
I used to have one, and I stopped. I ended up turning it off.
Let me just tell you, it don't always help.
Hey, this just in the community has a thank you of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you goes to Gamerbeck for making Chris Dabbis.
Oh, dank memory. So good.
Is it Chris Dabbis or Chris Davis?
I've been saying Dabbis.
I just feel like they're both good.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You haven't seen Chris Dabbis?
Wait, after the show.
Someone post Chris Dabbis in chat.
It's the best.
And you got to click it, Chris.
Wait, Nolan,
guys.
have you finished your
What? It's not even like...
guys?
Listen, you need to be appreciative because that's a sick ass.
Dude, not everyone gets immortalized.
Yeah, you know,
like that.
yeah, immortalized. I remember there was a time where,
Posted
for
in
whatever
Discord.
reason, everybody was putting Ashton Kutcher's face on Nick, and he was like, "I don't know if I appreciate this." And I was like, "Nick, you should be honored to be mixed with Ashton Kutcher." I don't know what started that, but there was a lot of
I don't
Ashton
either.
Kutcher Nicks.
Someone posted in the general channel of Discord. Krispy,
Yes.
4-player minute, go.
Okay, my 4-player minute is 4 hypes. I've got too much hype this week. My first hype is for No Man's Sky. It's fucking awesome. I mean, it's a legitimate
Look,
hype.
it's out. Finally,
It's out,
and it's
kind
good.
of, yeah.
Well, it's good now.
It feels like... I mean, I'm not just happy that like the game is closer to what we wanted it to be before it came out, that it actually has a bit more content to it. I'm also happy that like this Hello Games story kind of has a bit of a happy ending to it. You know, it
Yeah,
seems
absolutely.
like a bunch of people who
No
kind of like stuck with it
Chris
and
does.
made some big changes and turned a rather large unturnable ship around.
Do you think-
know?
It's
On
the
the other
biggest
end, do you
comeback
think-
ever.
Yeah.
On the other end, do you think Phil Fish has made Fez 2 and just
just
choosing
plays it
not
by
to share
himself?
with the world?
Like, yeah, I hope so.
I bet he has.
I hope he has.
Okay, sorry. Show Crispy the first one and then show the second
All
one.
right.
Oh no, you combine them?
So yeah, I mean, you've
My second hype is for
Chris
Metroidvania month because fucking A, man.
Because
There's
who
a lot
doesn't
of great
love
stuff.
Metroidvania?
I
No
can't
one's
wait.
hyped for 98.
I can't wait until we've all played some Dead Cells and talk about Dead Cells. I can't wait for Chasm, especially the fucking Adult Swim one. What was it called? I don't even
Death
remember.
Gambit.
Whatever. I don't care. It looks cool. Looks
Yeah.
like it's gonna be fucking great.
Did you play Guacamelee?
I did. Guacamelee 2. Looks
So
like it's gonna be
excited.
awesome. Can't wait. It's gonna be a fucking crazy month. August is already like shaping up to be this really weird month for me. Not just like for video games, but for like everything. I mean, we're doing 98 months, so I'm gonna be doing all those 98 streams and probably playing those games off the stream. Gonna be trying to find time to play all of these Metroidvanias. I'm gonna be off from school, and my roommates are gonna be gone.
Jesus.
And I'm also my third hype. I've been developing my own D&D campaign setting, and August I'm gonna be unleashing it on a group.
Nice.
And like it's kind of all I've been thinking about lately. So I'm really excited about that. If everything goes well, I don't know, maybe I can share some details about that, what I've been working on. And my fourth hype is obviously for 1998 month, because I'm going to be playing Metal Gear Solid, which I've never played the original version of that. I've only played Twin Snake.
It's a
but I
magical
played
experience.
all the other main series games. I'm going to be playing Tactics Ogre, which is exciting because I really liked Final Fantasy Tactics when I played that. Tactics Ogre is kind of like the last step for Matsuno.
Are we counting the
The PSP port / redo of Tactics Ogre looks visually more or less the same. I think it counts. It's the more accessible, for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
and it's got the pretty cutscenes, right?
Pretty good.
No, I mean it doesn't. That's you're thinking of Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My fourth hype, my final hype. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was my final hype. But the other thing I'm really excited about as far as 98 month goes is Mega Man Legends. Okay, because I was really big into Mega Man back in the day. I used to love Mega Man 2 and 3. Used to play them on NES all the time. Battle Network. I never really got into. I did have some of the Battle Network games when I had a Game Boy Advance, but I never got very far in them. And I remember being a kid, like seeing the Mega Man Legends box, the game with like a 3D Mega Man without his helmet and everything, and being like, "What the fuck is that? I really want to try that game." And for whatever reason, I just never got to play it when I was a kid.
Do you know what I remember
So-
back then? I was like, I can't believe he's not wearing his helmet.
I know.
Right?
I was
And
like,
then the sequel came out, and he had his helmet on the cover, and I was like,
You get his helmet
it
in
was
the game,
so
though.
weird.
I know you do.
It was so
But all
weird,
the
and then like
advertising.
I read about it like in some magazines or something. They're talking about like the world and the story, and it was like he's not even a robot. He's just like a kid named Mega Man. And he like happens to wear armor that looks like Mega Man. Like it was so weird. Like I remember thinking it was such a weird thing, but I really
Volnut?
Yeah, something like that.
You know that he was a playable character in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom.
Yeah,
it was
he
the
was.
Mega Man Legends version of Mega Man, and he didn't have his helmet.
Dude, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom was like the only thing I played when I lived in Miami.
I bought it recently. Game Over's doing this thing now that all their disc stuff, if it doesn't have the case, it's half off. They used to just do it like one day a month. Now it's a general store policy amongst all their stores.
They want to clear that inventory out.
Yeah, but you can find like rare shit that's just half off.
Dude,
and a lot of like, this rare ass Sega Saturn game that they don't have the case for, that's normally $100 is now half that. Like, it's a crazy policy.
Dude, the fuck, my roommate at the time was really into and got me into Battle of the Planets / Gachamon. So we bought that game because there's like 2 or 3 Gachamon characters in that game.
And they finally put in an Onimusha character, and it was the dumbass from Onimusha 4.
That was a fucking
Don't bring that shit
game.
up. Don't bring that shit up. Is it my turn?
Yes.
My hype this week, if you've been following me on Twitter, you can probably tell. Fucking Mission Impossible Fallout, man. I am so excited for that movie.
It's funny because you like the
three. The big three.
You like the Bourne, Bond, and
the holy trinity of espionage
Bond,
American action movies.
Well, no. Mission Impossible is not one of them. Who are the 3 Bs?
No,
there was the 3 Bs, but Mission Impossible.
Well, now that's gonna bug me.
Easily goes along with that trio, and it's like
no, it was Bond, Bourne, and Triple X.
No, it was.
There is a third B.
Bourne and
fuck. Now you're gonna drive me crazy.
Something. No, not Wick. Oh fuck,
guys. I think you made that up in your head. I think it's
it's the 3 Bs.
The big 3 is Bond, Bourne, and Hunt.
No, it was a B.
It's not a B.
It would not be BBH. Wait.
BB-8.
BBH BB.
The point is, guys, fucking I've been like a really big fan of the series since the 3rd one. I like the 1st one, but the 3rd one's kind of where the series shifted and became a different thing. It found its footing. They've been great movies ever since then, and this one's doing remarkably well critically so far, and I'm very, very excited. I'm seeing it on Sunday. Very hyped for it. My sweat goes to you thinking Bauer? Jack Bauer?
Bauer! He was the 3rd B.
Dude, Jack Bauer's from a TV show.
What does that have to do with it?
I don't know. I've never lumped them together.
But 24 was like a huge.
Yeah, that was a big.
Yeah, the 3 Bs.
I've never been a big fan of 24. I tried watching it. It just
for sure.
And there was a movie,
Born
but
and
like,
Bauer.
I tried watching 24. I got like 12 episodes in and realized, holy shit! You tell me there's 10 seasons with 24 of these episodes in it?
It doesn't get good till episode 24.
Yeah,
that's true. Episode 24 was pretty intense.
Together,
his wife gets killed.
I've always
spoilers.
Bond, Bourne, and Hunt for Mission Impossible. All those are to me those have been the trifecta. I've always been a big fan of all of them, but this one looks really good. Anyways, my sweat this week is another B. If you were following the Comic-Con news, we talked a little bit about it earlier today, but they announced a reboot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Which I am both.
Announce that, or did they?
No, they announced it.
Obliquely hint at it.
No, they announced it.
Oh, I thought they were just kind of like.
Maybe. No, they announced it. There's a showrunner and the people are attached.
Oh wow!
everything.
It's happening.
And
that
it's
Godzilla
I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer so much that I am, of course, excited about the prospect of it making a return. I am also terrified of the prospect of it making a return because obviously it's not going to involve anybody from the original series, and it's going to be totally different, which could be a great thing, but it could also be a train wreck. So I don't really know what to think right now. It's just kind of out there. I don't know what to think yet. Maybe when they start announcing casting and stuff, and maybe we get a feel for like what the story is and how it's going to connect and all this stuff, I might feel better about it. But right now, I'm nervous about it. My thank you for the week goes to Robin, because while I was playing Jurassic World Evolution, she ended up sitting on the couch and like helping me like build one of my parks. And we literally sat there for like 3 hours, and she was just like, I was at the controls, and we were just like talking strategy and like building parts of the park out. And like
that's cool. But she can't be your
fun.
Thank you every week. Nick.
No, she's not. I was actually originally going to thank Krispy.
Oh,
why?
Because
sorry, Rob.
I was gonna thank Krispy because for keeping up with No Man's Sky, because a lot of us kind of wrote it
Come
off
on.
a long time ago, and the fact that you've been playing all the updates and stuff,
You
I
don't
was like,
wanna
well,
thank me
I'm
for
excited to play
playing
it again.
Blinx?
No, fuck you. I'm just kidding.
What about
But
Blinx?
I changed it at the last second because he said he was hyped for No Man's Sky,
You haven't
so I
had
changed
any,
it. So
like-
fuck you, Brad.
special requests from her lately, right?
You're welcome,
Wait, what?
Nick.
Like when you and Robin are, and you're like, say fuck Batman.
No, that has not happened yet.
Okay.
That's not. My fuck you of the week actually goes to myself. I actually have had several community members over the past couple months submit quick read articles, and I have been very, very slow at posting them. I do apologize. I got one up this past couple days from I think Lemur Dragon is the author of it. If you haven't read it, go check it out. He wrote a cool little article about Vampire and why he really appreciated it. He has a very unique perspective on it because of his job, I think, or maybe because of his area of study, I think is probably a better way of putting it.
You mean Vampire?
Vampire, yes.
Vampire.
Yes, so it's on the front page right now. Check it out, 4playernetwork.com. I have a couple more that I want to get up, and then I'll open submissions back up for it because I would like to post more of those. I've just been very distracted lately, and I feel like I'm still kind of recovering from E3 and playing. I'm still trying to play all this shit, and Robin just moved in, so... Anyways, fuck me for being very, very slow at getting these posted, but I'm getting it done. And that's it. That's our show. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I forgot to mention at the beginning, but if you're not a member of our Discord, please head on over to discord.gg/4player, sign up, join the festivities. It's
Join the general channel. There's some interesting images that were
No,
recently
not
posted.
general.
No.
Chris Davis. Anyways,
Don't do this to me.
oh,
Stop it.
anyways. Let me wrap the show up, guys. Discord.gg/4player is the place to be. It's a fun place. You can hang out. You can talk to any one of us. You can talk to all the lovely members of our community. It's been a very, very, very good thing for our community, so we'd encourage you guys to check it out. And, of course, join us all month long in August for 1998 month. We'll be playing all kinds of great things from one of the greatest years in gaming. If you're one of our younger viewers, you might not have even been alive when that year came out, so tune in, because there's some great stuff that we have coming down the pipe for you. So... of course, join us next Thursday is no podcast. Next Thursday is August. So next Thursday, during the regular podcast slot, we will be streaming our 1998 multiplayer night.
I think I'm gonna get a wrestling game. Y'all were big into wrestling in the 90s, right?
I was actually pretty big into a few of the wrestling games.
You should see what I just ordered
They're
from
fun.
Amazon for 98 month.
Wait, is it a wrestling game?
Oh no.
All right.
Oh, well then fuck you.
Anyways, let me wrap it up. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you next week. Don't forget 4playernetwork.com. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.